junior.
I was going to say definitely not a junior, Patrick Lee.
Ryan Muscadini, he's another junior, and Dominic Fletcher, another junior, but probably the tallest junior ever at well over 6 foot at 16 years old, as we get ready for the start of leg number 2 of the YMF R3 Cup.
So Johnny Littris leads the championship. Max Stouffer will start from pole position on board bike number 27. As the riders now come down to take up their positions on the grid. Yesterday's race was an absolute cracker. I am sure that today's race is going to be exactly the same.
Yeah, you can see that wind buffeting the Bass Strait at the moment.
Red flag leaves the front of the grid. We are ready to go. Supersport 300 is go as they make their way off the line and down towards the start-finish area, or the first corner here. Max Stouffer's got a great start and he leads them off the line. Look at the slipstream now as they come down. There's Johnny Littris that pulls out to the inside and tries to dive up the inside of Max Stouffer and does so. Takes the lead as they go through turn 1, and they're 3 abreast further back in the pack as they make their way out of Doohan Corner and round towards turn 2 for the first time. Hunter Ford's got a cracking start as well. He's up there in second place, followed by Lockie Taylor, and pole position man Max Stouffer is back to 4th.
And Laura Brown back there in 5th as they come out of Suzuki Southern Loop. The big charge down now, top gear, trying to rip the throttle off the handlebar as they tip it on their side, and they head down now into turn number 4, which this weekend is the YMI corner. And look, they fan out like just trying to find a little bit of bitumen, but it's John Littris still there from Hunter Ford, Lockie Taylor, and no sooner does he say that as they make the charge up towards Siberia, so the positions will change. But John Littris, 3-4 bike lengths at the moment, but Hunter Ford, he really makes up his deficit in weight and height by his corner speed as well. He manages, look at him trying to tuck himself under the fairing and the windscreen of that Yamaha R3 as they come through the KTM Hayshed for the first time.
Yeah, pretty good start too from Brandon Demery on board bike number 11, but he's being challenged now as they come up towards the top of Lukey Heights YMI corner this weekend, and then down into turn 10, the Pirelli corner. Up the inside, looking to have a bit of a look there was Lockie Taylor, but pulls back under the slipstream of Hunter Ford as they make their way through Pirelli corner and out through AGV now. This is the very important run, as you mentioned in the track animation, Braxy, that the run down the start-finish straight really starts there on the exit of turn 10 through 11 and 12, especially on these little bikes where they are literally flat out and not too many gear changes from here on until they make their way down through the gearbox into the YMI or the YMF corner at turn 1.
Oh, 4 abreast as they come down the Pirelli Motul straight. Down over the hill, that magnificent view of Bass Strait, but it's Hunter Ford that takes the lead through the slipstream. Johnny Littris back to second. Max Stouffer around the outside as they go into YMF corner. Whoa, who's run up wide there? He's gone on a school excursion. That was Brandon Demery, was it?
Yeah, I think Hunter Ford was on the same line as Brandon Demery. Goes to show you how important that slipstream is, though. Littris led onto the straight. By the time they got halfway down the straight, he was back to 4th. By the time they got to turn 1, he was almost up to 2nd place again as they make their way now down through turn 3. Kawasaki corner and into one of the slowest corners on the circuit at turn 4. It is still Hunter Ford that leads, but Stouffer coming around the outside on board bike number 27. Look at the front end start jumping up and down as Max Stouffer as he applies every bit of braking capacity to the front end of that Yamaha R3.
I thought he must have left his would have left his pogo stick back in the Hunter Valley there instead of bringing it with him. That was all jumping all around. But Max Stouffer, he was in a perfect position there when he came onto the straight. He was sitting there and he actually sat up coming onto the straight when he was in 4th position. But look, Hunter Ford, these two have been at each other for the last couple of years since Max made the graduation from the juniors up to the Supersport 300 and the R3 Cup. Hunter Ford up through the inside, had a great line through the Hayshed, lined that up about 300 metres before. But Lockie Taylor, our winner from the race yesterday, in another fine position. John Littris up the inside, tries hard, but he's Brandon Demery is just there to block him off. But as they come out of Pirelli turn through this very critical short shifting up the 3rd gear, 4th gear, they're fully pinned all the way through here until they get the southern loop.
Hey, look at the lead that Hunter Ford's been able to extract from turn 10 as they exit now turn 12 and out onto the Motul Pirelli straight and start this 3rd lap of the race. There'll be 2 laps completed. It is only a 7-lap journey, so we're coming up towards half race distance. The importance of the slipstream once again. Taylor pulls out of the slipstream of Max Stouffer. Max Stouffer pulls out of the slipstream of Hunter Ford, and they go 5 abreast down in towards turn 1, YMF corner. It is Littris up the inside, Hunter Ford around the outside. He's been doing a bit of square dancing, Braxy, as they make their way through turn 1 and now into turn 2. Brandon Demery has arrived on the scene, bike number 11, the man that won the round at the last outing at Donington Motor Raceway only 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, good return to form after his very, very trying couple of years. But Hunter Ford actually lent on Johnny Littrus going through YMF Turn 1.
He's dirt tracker, wouldn't mind it.
Made him, they're both dirt trackers, so they know what leading all about. And Johnny Littrus thought, all right, I'll put that one in the bank for later on. Up the inside, Maxi Stover has a look, but it's still Hunter Ford leading. Oh, Brandon Demery got a little bit of a blood nose then from Lockie Taylor as they came through YMI corner for the third time of this 7-lap journey. But look at this bunch, a complete mirror image of what we saw yesterday afternoon, except instead of having 8 of them, I've got 12 of them now.
And a couple of our juniors, Reece Orchard and Jacob Hatch, have tagged onto the back of this group as well. So this is a pretty big learning curve for those young fellas. Look at this group behind. The top 2 have started to get away, and then we've got a group of about 7 or 8 that are, well, they were just all over the place like Brown's cows as they made their way through the Hayshed corner and up towards the top of Lukey Heights. But Hunter Ford and Maxi Stover have got away a little bit. See if the guys behind can actually get themselves organised, use the slipstream. It won't be long until they bridge that gap to the 2 race leaders. Oh, we've got one down in the gravel trap, and it looks like... Just trying to see where that is. It's at the exit of Siberia corner this weekend, the YMF corner that starts the run up towards the Hayshed. But out onto the start-finish straight now, it is Hunter Ford and Max Stover that lead. This group behind being led by, I think
Jacob
that was Lockie Taylor. Now Jacob Hatch.
And Jamie Port's been done for a jump start penalty. But did you see the different line? Hunter Ford, he was like he was on a Ferris wheel. He was that high under the corner before he swept down through that final turn, Yamaha turn onto the Pirelli Motul straight. But look at them. As soon as you say one position, no doubt they're going to change. Having a look over their shoulder to see who's close. But now it's Lockie. Oh,
well, that was Laura
Taylor.
Brown leading, and then Lockie Taylor just went around the outside.
That bunch, because you've still got Hunter Ford and Maxi Stover that have cleared up. And actually, they've actually made a bit of a gap on this, the rest of the marauding pack.
And Laura Brown was near the back of that pack as they came up towards the Hayshed on that last lap. Actually, I think a couple of the juniors in Reece Orchard and Jacob Hatch actually carved her up on the way up towards the house shed. But look at that little lead is still managing to be maintained by both Hunter Ford and Max Stover as the lead changes once again. Is that someone saying, oh, the old follow me? We know that one doesn't work.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like it's asking somebody this impossible question. You want me to follow you?
I'm so impressed with Laura Brown and also her new teammate in the WNR team, Benny Baker, doing some great work this weekend on board bike number 72. Benny Baker is in that lead group as well, back there in 7th position.
Well, he's recovered well from that. Well, he had an early exit from the meeting a week and a month ago when he had that accident and forced his withdrawal, but he's bounced back. Well, at 14 years old, you always bounce back pretty well.
Down into the Pirelli corner we go at turn 10. It is Littrus that slipped a little way back in that group now. Just having a look to see where he is because he's got a few riders ahead of him. Hunter Ford, Max Stover. The gap has certainly come down now to Lockie Taylor in 3rd position. Then it's Brandon Demery in 4th place, and then Laura Brown is still there in 5th. She's hanging on to this lead group, doing a great job in her return to racing.
You can see the pink of the leather. She's easy to pick out. She's just on the back of this one. She's closing them down.
And look at the slipstream.
Whether she can pull out and make a bit of a move on this, but Brandon Demery did. He's made a bit of a move, and so is Lockie Taylor, sweeping into the lead from third into 1st position. Brandon Demery, the guy from Wagga Wagga in New South Wales, making a move around the outside, having a good look as well. But it's Lockie Taylor from Hunter Ford at the moment. Then it's Maxi Stover in 3rd. Brandon Demery having a look, and as we said, tagged on a bunch of this back of this bunch is Laura Brown, but also coming through Benny Baker, Reece Orchard, Johnny Littrus and Jacob Hatch there. They're trying to bridge the gap that it's just starting to, the rubber band is getting a little bit larger at the moment.
I was looking at Lockie Taylor and he was so wide on the exit of turn 2 there. He was almost off onto the grasses. Max Stover has to sit the bike up, gets a bit of a sound check there, I think, from Laura Brown as she went around the outside and rubbed elbows with the rider on board bike number 27. Demery's dropped back to about 5th place, but he's got a good slipstream now on the run up towards the top of Lukey Heights as they come up towards the Hayshed now, because this area is certainly a place where these Supersport 300s can use the slipstream. Look at Lockie Taylor blasting past Hunter Ford there at a move into a corner where on a lot of other classes wouldn't be an overtaking manoeuvre. On a Supersport 300, every corner is an opportunity.
Well, you're good to said that, Phil, because most people think of slipstreaming is just in a straight line, but the nature of this track allows slipstreaming at many parts of the track. As up the inside goes another one. That was Brandon Demery having a look, but Laura Brown up the 3rd position as they come charging down into Pirelli turn. How long she stays there's another question, as Hunter Ford is just a little bit in front of Lockie Taylor, but I'm sure that lead will dissipate by the time they get into YMF turn number 1 and the charge up the Suzuki Southern Loop.
Well, coming down to complete 5 laps now. It is Hunter Ford that leads, but the riders behind us just starting to get that slipstream. Max Stouffer using his lightweight and the slipstream to go past Lockie Taylor and Brandon Demery. Who was that charging through the field? That was the 151, I think it was. That was 121. Reece Orchard got a great run on board the yellow machine and is now up into, 4th position.
Yep, and about 3rd position if he can find a bit of room on the inside of Suzuki Southern Loop.
This would be by far his best ride in the Supersport 300 class. When you have a look at this class, we're saying about how competitive it is, Braxy. The fastest rider on track is in 9th position to set the fastest lap of the race. One of the juniors from the Oceania Blue Crew Junior Cup. 150.074 for Jacob Hatch.
And they've closed them down. This bunch now went from 6, now it's up to a dozen again.
That Jacob Hatch and Lockie Taylor had a little bit of a touch there.
I was going to say they'd take a deep breath, but I don't think they even breathe for about the course of this 1 minute 50 lap.
I reckon there might be some heavy breathing at the end of it, though, as we make our way through YMF corner and up towards the Hayshed now. It is still Hunter Ford that leads. That's been the one consistent over the last couple of laps, isn't it? That Hunter Ford has been at or near the front for pretty much the last couple of laps. Tries to make a little bit of a gap up through this area, but once they get to the start-finish straight, once again, that slipstream comes into play and everyone seems to be able to catch him up. But look out for Brandon Demery on board bike number 11. He was a star at the last round. His first round back from injury, where he was actually consistently at the front of the competition all weekend.
And Maxi Stover just goes up the inside of Reece Orchard as now the battle for the win starts from here. We've got just over 5 kilometres to go. They'll get the last lap board as they come past the start-finish line on Pirelli Motul Straight. Hunter Ford just there, but look at the battle for 3rd and 4th. Reece Orchard up the inside of Maxi Stover saying, well, if you can do that at Pirelli corner, I can do it here at Yamaha corner.
Well, as we go down the Motul Pirelli stroke, it is Lockie Taylor that pulls out of the slipstream of Reece Orchard and Max Stouffer and goes blasting on past. I think Laura Brown's in there as well, along with Benny Baker, a teammate, both on the Warwick Nowland racing machines. And down in towards turn 1. No brakes there for Brandon Demery, and they all follow through. It's in very close order. Just trying to see who's actually come out of turn 1 in what positions, because they seem to be swapping every single metre of the circuit. Reece Orchard has gone from 2nd place back to about 7th in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, and then in the blink of an eye, could be back there again as they make the charge down now into turn 4. Hard on the full top gear, throttle pin to the stop as they come down now into turn number 4. So it's still Hunter Ford who's led for basically 2 laps, Phil.
And he's got a good little gap there too, that he maybe can concentrate on his own line rather than the lines to try and hold out Max Stouffer, who's sitting in 2nd position. We've only got half a lap to go now. Hunter Ford leads from Max Stouffer. Hunter Ford, remember, led this championship coming into this weekend, but Johnny Littress took the championship lead by 1 point, courtesy of his 3rd place yesterday. And Littress is a little bit further back in the field. He was down to 5th. He's up to 3rd now. Littress on board bike number 308 as they make their way up through the Hayshed. Stouffer in 2nd, Littress in 3rd. Brandon Demery's right behind. Laura Brown in there as well on board bike number 355. And Reece Orchard on bike number 121, all in contention for a podium position as they come down into the Pirelli corner. Turn 10 for the final time. 2 more corners to go. The run down the Motul Pirelli finish straight starts here on the exit of turn 10. Hunter Ford has got a handy lead. Stouffer in 2nd has got a handy lead over Johnny Littress. They'll be just close enough to pick up each other's slipstreams as they come round through turn 12. Now Hunter Ford sets himself for the run to the line. On board bike number 20, we've got one going down. That's bike number 224. That's Harry Parker. He is out of the equation, but Hunter Ford will take the win. Max Stouffer will take 2nd place, and Johnny Littress gets up into a 3rd place. So the championship will just close up even further at the completion of race 2 of 3 for the Yamaha R3 Cup at this penultimate round of the 2019 Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship. What a cracking race once again from the R3 Cup field. Congratulations also to Laura Brown, who finished in 4th place on board bike number 355. Of the rest of this field makes their way down to the start-finish straight now. Brandon Demery in 5th place. Lockie Taylor in 6th, Reece Orchard in 7th, Benny Baker 8th, Jacob Hatch in 9th, and Archie McDonald in 10th. Just having a look at that, places 7 all the way back through to 10th place are all current or former junior riders, and doing a great job with the amount of juniors that are making their way up into the Supersport 300 and Yamaha R3 Cup fields this year. So, YMF R3 Cup delivers sensational racing once again. Unfortunately for Harry Parker, who was in that lead group, crashed out at turn 12 and didn't feature in the end result. But the win goes to Hunter Ford, being confirmed there by 0.25 of a second over Max Stouffer and Johnny Littress in third. They'll be speaking to Mark Brax on the podium very shortly, with Laura Brown in fourth, Demery in fifth, Taylor in sixth, Orchard, Baker, Hatch and McDonald rounding out the top 10. Great to see those juniors there rounding out the end of that top 10. Matty Rindell up to 11th place. Zach Pettendy, another junior, in 12th place. Ryan Smith on board bike number 292 in 13th. Steph James in 14th. Patrick Bognar in 15th. Ryan Moscardini in 16th. Patrick Lee on his return from injury. Great ride from Patrick. First time I think he's ridden a Yamaha R3, finishing in 17th position. So, highlights of the first of our Yamaha Motor Finance R3 Cup races for today. There's so many highlights. Max Stouffer started from pole position and got a good jump off the line and led them momentarily as they made their way down towards turn 1, the YMF corner for the first time. But coming up the inside, it was Johnny Littress on board bike number 308, the man that led the championship coming into this race by 1 point over Hunter Ford, that took the lead as they went through turn 1 for the first time, with this big group of riders all making their way safely through turn 2 for the first time. It was Littress that led, but all of our championship protagonists in Hunter Ford and Max Stouffer were well placed at the completion of the first few laps. Slipstreaming aplenty as they came down the Motul Pirelli start-finish straight every lap of the race. And I think most of the riders in that lead group all had a chance at leading at some stage. Hunter Ford led most of the second half of the race. He was challenged by Max Stouffer and Lockie Taylor, with John Littress and also Brandon Demery on board bike number 11, getting well and truly involved in all of the action. Littress took the lead down into turn 1, but Hunter Ford went back around the outside after using the slipstream down the start-finish straight and into the Pirelli corner. Down through turn 4, Hunter Ford back into the lead, Lockie Taylor in second. Laura Brown was also well placed on board bike number 355, and also her teammate Benny Baker on board bike number 72. You can see the riders at the back end of that group getting the advantage of the massive slipstream of the riders in front. Stouffer took the lead down into turn 1, but then by the time they came back around to turn 4, it was once again Hunter Ford on board bike number 20 that was back into the lead. You can see a little bit of biffing and barging going on there back in the pack. But as they came down the start-finish straight to start the last lap, Max Stouffer had dropped all the way back to about 6th or 7th position on board bike number 27, but was able to use the slipstream to get himself back up into second place. As they came round through the final corner, it was Hunter Ford that set himself for the run to the line. You can see him move his body position there, stay in close, as unfortunately we saw Harry Parker crash out at turn 12 and Hunter Ford take the win over Max Stouffer and John Littress. Congratulations to our top 3. And it's going to be very interesting with the championship points now. Let's go to the Park for May. Mark Brax is with our top 3.
Thanks, guys. Down here on the podium in third position, John Littress. Well done again. Another hard-fought race.
Yeah, it was a tough race. Good job with all the boys, and yeah, it was a really tricky race. We took a gamble with some gearing that didn't quite work, so I got run at by turn 1 and then got swamped at turn 1 every lap, but that's racing and you make mistakes. But yeah, thank you to everyone that helps me out. AGV, TCX, Australian Civil Solutions, Jekyll and Hyde, Caboolture Yamaha, West Sliders, E-Mold Australia. Thank you.
All the best, mate. We'll probably hopefully see you back in later on this afternoon.
Thank you.
Thanks, John Littress in second. In third position, another second for Maxi Stouffer. But, mate, you're all over the place. It looks like so much fun out there.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say it's fun, but yeah, it's definitely tricky. Bit difficult with the weather conditions. It was real windy. Lost a bit of rear grip out there, and yeah, just going to go back, have a talk to Dad, and see what we can do for the next one.
There's probably some guys listening. Where's the wind actually affecting you the worst?
Oh, definitely through the hay shed in turn 2.
All right, mate, all the best, and hopefully see you up here for another win later on as we go to another victor with Hunter Ford back on the podium for the first time this weekend. Well done, matey.
Yeah, it's good to be up here, but got real unlucky yesterday. I ran out of fuel in the last lap leading the race, so I was a bit bummed after that, so it's good to get a win again today.
And you had it in control too. For the last couple of laps, you made a little bit of a break, which was just enough for buffer to hold it to the line.
Yeah, I think I led most of the laps. Like, always managed to be leading on over Lukey Heights and then lead to the finish line, so I was just like, all right.
Amazing when you got a full tank of gas, eh?
Yeah, I put extra fuel in so I could get that last lap in.
All the best, mate, and see you back in later on. Back to you guys up there in the commentary.
Yeah, thanks very much, Braxy. Plenty more action to come here from Phillip Island. Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup coming up next. Join us on the other side of this break.
Technology for improved engine protection and performance. We are going a step beyond to a new generation of motor oils. This is the vision of innovation. The new 300V squared.
Don't miss a second of the action. Every corner, every shift, every heartbreak. See your motorsport as it should be, live and free. Download your Motorsport TV experience now.
Our business is making dreams come true. Since 2002, we've realised over 130,000 Yamaha dreams and financed more than 200,000 motorcycle and boating passions. We've helped turn the smallest dreams and the largest dreams into reality. Are you ready to make your dream a reality?
Get ready! Supercross is coming to Brisbane. The Australian Supercross Championship Round 1, presented by Honda, will launch into Brisbane Entertainment Centre Saturday night, October 12. See Australia's best take on Americans Justin Brayton and more in bar-to-bar Supercross action. Plus, see freestyle motocross and much more. It's a huge night of motorsport for the whole family. Whatever you do, don't miss this one. Tickets selling fast at Ticketek.
Welcome back to Phillip Island, the scene of lots of wildlife things, but also the greatest racetrack in the world, the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. We're getting ready for the next race on today's program. That is the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup. Tom Drain will start from pole position on board bike number 59 with Reece Orchard and Jacob Hatch joining him on the front row of the grid.
And then it is Jamie Port, Archie McDonald and Marianos Nicholas from Canberra on the second row of the grid. Then it's Carter Thompson, Maxie Gibbons, who won the race yesterday, and Zach Pettendy.
So the fourth row of the grid is Lucas Knight, Lucas Quinn and Glenn Nelson on board bike number 39. Row 5, Patrick Bognar, Varys Fleming and Angus Grenfell on board bike number 36, who was on the podium yesterday.
And then it is Hunter Diplock, Jason Martin and Toby Connors with Toby James rounding out the field. And what a race yesterday. This is another one with the top 9, top 10. There was 0.6 of a second between 11 of them.
Right, we're away down towards turn 1 as they come down through the under the Melbourne Bridge. It is bike number 59. That is Tom Drain that will lead them down towards turn 1 for the first time. Bike number 12, Reece Orchard, is also very well positioned after starting from that front row of the grid as they make their way, well, all the way round through turn 1, using up all of the track. 26 bikes on track here this weekend. We are missing a couple of riders, Braxy, because I think it's Jacob Rulston on board bike number 74, who's usually one of the front runners, is over racing in the Asia Talent Cup this weekend. But the good news is so many of these riders have been selected for Asia Talent Cup selection for next year, and also Red Bull rookies as well.
Yeah, that's the week after the MotoGP here late in November. They all go over to Asia to try out to see if they can get in that ultra-competitive competition. And Tom Drain, who is leading the race at the moment, 2 Australian dirt track titles last weekend, as well as Archie McDonald, a couple of dirt track titles last weekend.
Glad you mentioned Archie McDonald, because he just took the lead coming down in towards turn 4 on board bike number 69, and still holds it as they make their way through YMF corner and up towards the Hayshed now on the exit, the corner that everyone knows as Siberia. This big long conga line of all of the riders in their matching AGV helmets and Recondi leathers and TCX boots, all running Pirelli tyres as well on board their Yamaha R15s. All of the bikes prepared identically by a dedicated team of professionals.
And talking to a couple of youngsters yesterday, I said, when do you actually get off the throttle here? And they've had to actually think about it. They've gone, I think it's turn 4 and maybe turn 10.
And it's only for a fraction of a second.
And the other thing is that we don't use brakes. It's more of using the gears to slow down, because if you grab too much brakes, it slows the momentum down too much.
That's
so
right.
The racecraft these kids are learning at this age is just monumental. I reckon it's awesome.
Angus Grenfell took the lead as they came down into turn 10, the Pirelli corner. But back around the outside, it's Archie McDonald on board bike number 69. Tom Drain still well placed on 59. And also just having a look there, I think Jamie Port's got off to a cracking start. He jumped the start in the Yamaha R3 Cup, but he's obviously been fine-tuning his starting technique, because he's well and truly in this lead group as they make their way. They fan across the whole of the Motul Pirelli straight here at Phillip Island and make their way down towards turn 1. They're certainly getting value for money, Braxy. They're using every centimetre of this magnificent strip of bitumen as they make their way down. Now, is that Jacob Hatch on 14? That looks like he's just momentarily taken the lead, but coming around the outside as we go 4, 5, 6 abreast through turn 1 to start this second lap.
It's 10 metres wide, and they're only in motorcycles, putting out about 17 horsepower and a top speed of 127 kilometres an hour. And yet a normal road bike, or race bike, for the adults goes through Suzuki Southern Loop at a similar speed of 120 k's an hour. So these guys have just got it pinned the whole way. You'll see the mics set up as they come down now into YMI corner, turn number 4 for the second time. And down the hill, again, they fan out, trying to find a little bit of a real estate to get a little bit of an advantage. But Jake Hatch up the inside again to take over the lead from Angus Grenfell. Zach Pettendy up there, he's just jumped off the R3 Cup bike and come and jump on the junior bike. It's confirmed that how many of these guys are actually triple dutying over the weekend. Yeah,
Jacob Hatch is one that is doing triple duty in R3 Cup, Supersport 300 and the Oceania Blue Crew Junior Cup. We commented at Winton, Braxy, that his leathers were flapping around in the breeze because he'd had a wretched weekend crashing and they were literally falling apart all over him. He showed me he's got a brand new set of Recondi leathers this weekend. They look absolutely magnificent, and he's doing a pretty good job this weekend to keep the scratches to a minimum.
And look at them. We've got, what are we, got 11, 12 riders in that bunch as they come over YMI Lukey Heights into Pirelli turn number 10. And it's still Jake Hatch that leads, but it'll only be momentarily because I can bet my bottom dollar that by the time they get across the start-finish line on Pirelli Motul Straight, we will have another leader. It was Reece Orchard that was there momentarily, but he's been relegated yet again as well.
And how many of these young fellas are coming from dads that are very proficient racers that still race or have raced in the past? We've got Reece Orchard and Jacob Hatch out leading. Then coming up the inside, Zach Pendy on board bike number 15, who looked like he was trying to take the lead at the apex of turn 12 in an Aidan Wagner type manoeuvre.
Well, he got shuffled out because there was a bit of a flick of the handlebars as someone leant over him. As again, look at that, 4 abreast, 5 abreast as they go under the Melbourne Bridge down into this magnificent view into YMF corner to start their third lap. And it's still 39 at the moment. That's Glenn Nelson, the young Queenslander that's come up from 5th position to lead the race. And around the outside, well, there's the white line. There's the circuit extremity. Well, I can run out to there as well. They don't get pinned like they do in MotoGP for outside the track limits. And bike number 36 as well. He's having a good Angus Grenfell. He was from 1st to 2nd, back to 7th, now back into the lead as Zach Pentley pushes him out wide and says, well, have a look at the grass outside there, will you, sir?
Well, here comes Carter Thompson, who led the championship coming into this round. He also won the first 2 rounds of this championship earlier on this year at Wakefield Park and also Broadford, as they fan out once again and then come back into try and get the right line through turn 4. It is bike number 36, Angus Grenfell, that momentarily took the lead, but I think Jacob Hatch was right in there on board bike number 14 as well. And this lead group of about 15 guys has just started to get away from the group behind that starts, what is it, from 12th position. So it's 11 riders in this lead group at the moment, and at the back of that lead group was the man that qualified on pole position, Tom Drain.
And one of them has been relegated with a 10-second penalty by number 46. Marianos Nicholas sits in 10th position at the moment.
He just set the fastest lap of the race too.
Well, I've got to win it by 10 seconds now to make up for that jump start. But look at them as they fan out, coming through the hayshed, up over Lukey Heights into Pirelli turn. As we said, wherever there's a bit of black bitumen, that's where you can put a motorcycle. And look how wide they come out. Up the inside, Jake Hatch.
Around the outside and down the inside. That is a manoeuvre made famous by Wayne Maxwell on more than one occasion.
And there's no reason why Max Gibbons, he's in 10th position at the moment. He won the race yesterday, and that's a mirror of how competitive this class is. Glenn Nelson just gasses it as far. I think he slipped the clutch there, bringing a bit of dirt tracking to try and get a bit of extra revs out of the R15.
Just having a look now as they come out onto the Motul Pirelli start-finish straight to make their way down there. Look at it's the charge of the Light Brigade back. It's almost back to Bathsheba, isn't it, as they make their way down the start-finish straight underneath the Melbourne Bridge.
Well, I saw them yesterday. They're actually looking at each other, pushing each other towards the outside of the track, and then they're elbowing each other back as they come down now into YMF turn number 1 for the 4th time of this 6th lapper. They'll get the last lap board at the end of this one. Look, up the inside, bike number 12. It's just you blink, Reece Orchard. There was a clash of bars then, and they all managed to stay upright, but he went from 3rd back to 7th in one fell swoop.
Yeah, I think that was that bike number 12, Reece Orchard, that looked like he got a bit of a tag and had to sit the bike up on the inside. And consequently, if you're on their inside and there's 3 blokes outside of you, they all have to stand the bikes up. As we see now, Max Gibbons has taken the lead as they make their way down towards turn 4. He was 10th 3 corners ago. Now he's in the lead. Typical Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup racing. What a great initiative it has been this year from Motorcycling Australia. 26 riders, I think, on the grid and on multiple occasions this year. This weekend we are a couple down, as we mentioned, with riders off overseas doing duty. But the racing, once again, has been absolutely sensational. And as we make our way up towards the hayshed, it is still Max Gibbons leading. That's going to be some sort of record, Braxy. He's led for 3 corners in a row.
And he's made a bit of a gap at the moment, so it'll depend how much these guys don't get off the brakes as they go into Pirelli turn for the 4th time of this 6-lap journey. So Max Gibbons on bike number 31. Then right behind him on bike number 15 is Zach Pendy from up there on the New South Wales-Queensland border. Archie McDonald's in there as well. Glenn Nelson, as they fan out again to come down now as towards the end of this 4th lap. Bike number 69, Archie McDonald. He had to have a bit of a handful then because he got his nose shut off then by Angus Grenfell.
Did he actually use some brakes?
I think he had to because there was a bike in front of him.
Look, they're slipstreaming between turn 11 and turn 12 now as they make their way round through the Yamaha Revjahart corner, and that's certainly what they're doing at the moment as they come past the Yamaha signs and point the bike to the left and head down the Motul Pirelli start-finish straight underneath the Melbourne Bridge. It was Max Gibbons leading as they came out of turn 12. Looks like Angus Grenfell and also Archie McDonald
gets the lead momentarily, because that'll change by the time they get to turn 1.
Well, here comes the rider that was in 10th position, making his way down the inside. Tom Drain on 59, looking like he's trying to sneak up the inside as well. Round the outside, Angus Grenfell on 36. He's got the Jack Miller helmet on, and he's certainly challenging the rider from far north Queensland, who's doing a great job this weekend in MotoGP in Thailand.
And Zach Pentley on bike number 15 tries round the outside again. 3 wide as they go through Suzuki Southern Loop for the 5th time. Oh, I tell you, Maxie Gibbons is still there. Well, he's leading for a few corners now at the moment.
But he lost the lead on the straight. He's managed to scythe his way back through this huge pack of, this huge lead pack of riders as they make their way down towards turn 4. That is the YMI corner.
This is almost half the field of the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup as they go through turn number 4. The great aerial shot.
How great is this class, Braxy? It's certainly been doing wonders for these young juniors as racecraft, the way that they present themselves, the way that they walk around in their leathers all weekend. They're just so keen to be a part of it as they make their way through the exit of Siberia corner now and start this long run. It'll be a long run up this hill on board a Yamaha R15.
Yeah, 17 horsepower. It is a bit of a pull up the hill, trying to get 127 top speed out of them.
Well, I thought you were going to say 127 kilos if I was riding it. Anyway, as they make their way up the hill, this is where, coming down to the end of the race now, the riders that have got that lightweight, that have a little bit more fuel in the tank than hopefully the heavier riders that have got less fuel in the tank. That was the method that they used to handicap them a little bit at the last round as Jacob Hatch comes up the inside. There was a few dive bombers back there as well. I think, just having a look, I think that may have been Jamie Port having a big lunge on board bike number 24 as well. As they start the slipstreaming from turn 11 to turn 12 as they come in. They will get the last lap board, Braxy. So as they come across the start-finish line, only 4.45 kilometres of this madness to go for their first outing today, their second for the weekend.
Archie McDonald on bike number 69 led as they came through the Yamaha Revjahart corner. Then it is bike number 36, Angus Grenfell. He finished 3rd yesterday afternoon in their opening leg of the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup. They got one more race later on this afternoon as they fan out and head into turn 1 for the final time of this second leg. And there's no one leading there. They're all nose to nose as they went through there, 4 abreast.
Well, to give you an idea, Max Gibbons led them across the line at the completion of the last lap. As they came across the line to complete this lap, he was all the way back into 6th position. And, well, who knows what's happening now as they come through turn 1 and, turn 2 and make their way out towards turn 3. We've actually gone back to Max Gibbons in the lead.
If he can hold on to it. I doubt if he can. He'll be wanting to go get his 2 wins on the trot to pull up the vital championship points as they come through Kawasaki turn number 3 down into turn number 4. Who's going to be in it? Is it Jake Hatch that does lead going in there? So Max Gibbons been relegated back to 2nd position.
Unfortunately for Jake Hatch, I think he's one of the bigger, heavier riders in this class, so he needs a substantial lead to come out onto the Motul Pirelli start-finish straight to be able to win this race. Actually, he's gone very wide now and he's run extremely wide. We've got one down. Was that Carter Thompson, I think, on board bike number 21 that may have been involved in that incident? I'm not sure if that was him that actually crashed. But as we look now to see how many bikes we've got left in this lead group.
I'm wondering, looking to see the numbers here. Won't make a...
They're just having a look. I think that might be Max Gibbons that leads. Glenn Nelson in there as well. Bike number 15, Zach Pedley. He is... He's coming around the outside into 3rd place. Coming around the outside even wider is Jacob Hatch on board bike number 14. Down in towards turn 10, it is Nelson on Angus Grenfell on 36 that was in the lead. But then around the outside, I think that may have even been Archie McDonald. We've got a red flag stoppage. So the run to the finish line won't matter for these riders now as the red flag comes out to finish that race. With 5 laps down, it will be... they say declared by the officials. So unfortunately for these riders, they won't get to finish that last run to the start-finish line and try and sort themselves out. But a great race once again from the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup. Red flag stoppage I'd say due to that incident on the exit of YMF corner over at Siberia. So they're all signalling now to slow down as the race safe medical team makes their way around the circuit to attend to the riders involved in that incident over there at turn 6, the exit of turn 6 on the run up the hill. Be very interesting to see what the results are. We'll go back to the completion, I'd say, of the fifth lap. It looks like we've got a few riders involved in this incident over there at the exit of turn 6. You can see the medical on the scene in a matter of moments after that incident. Let's have a look at the replay of this incident now, if we can see what happened. So that was Jamie Port on board bike number 24, was coming around the inside and looked like he came into contact with another rider and then actually went over the high side. Disappointing for Jamie, because that was one of his best rides of the year, to be in that lead group and fighting all of the way. He was sitting in about 7th or 8th position when that incident happened. Couldn't see what other riders were involved in that incident though, but there is certainly a few bikes in the gravel trap. It looks like we've got the results now confirmed for race number 2. Angus Grenfell will take the win to go with his 3rd place yesterday over Archie McDonald on board bike number 69, and Max Gibbons will take 3rd place. Zach Pettendy in 4th. As we look all the way back through this massive field of 24 odd riders here this weekend. So Carter Thompson will take 3rd place on board bike number 21. Jacob Hatch in 4th. Zach Pettendy in 5th. Cormac Buchanan in 6th. Max Gibbons in 7th. Jamie Port, Glenn Nelson and Reece Orchard round out the top 10. Let's have a look at the highlights. How do you come up with highlights of a race like that, which involved overtaking every corner and every part in between every corner? As we make our way down towards turn 1 for the first time, it is Tom Drain that started from pole position that led the race early on. But Archie McDonald on 69 was quick to take the lead as they made their way through turn 4, the YMI corner, for the first time. The lead group just started to move away from the rest of the field. They also started to move their way all the way across the circuit, all starting to try and take advantage of the slipstream as they made their way down the Motul Pirelli straight. Didn't matter whether they were going through the straight or round a corner. They were 3, 4, 5, 6 abreast. Here we are through turn 2. It's bike number 12. Doing a good job there. Reece Orchard consistently running at the front this weekend as well. They're making their way down the start-finish straight. You can see them all fan out once again. Glenn Nelson on board bike number 39 doing a great job to utilise the slipstream there on the inside. Moved ahead of the rest of the pack. And then other riders used his slipstream as they came down through turn 1. Then it was Grenfell on board bike number 36 that assumed the lead on the outside. Pettendy coming up the inside on board bike number 15. Down in towards turn 4, you can see some moves up the inside there. One of them by Jacob Hatch on board bike number 14. He's already been out on track this morning on board the Yamaha R3 and R3 Cup Racing. Pettendy coming down the inside on 12. Also bike number 15, Pettendy on bike number 15 coming down the inside. And then Max Gibbons. I think this was about the stage of the race where he went from the lead back to 10th place and then back to the lead in the space of 3 or 4 corners. Down through turn 10 they come at the Pirelli corner. You can see Grenfell there on bike number 36 pull out and utilise the slipstream to go around the outside of our race leader Max Gibbons as they made their way down onto the Motul Pirelli start-finish straight. And then this action all the way through turn 1, using up all the parts of the circuit, biffing and barging into each other, and then this incident that caught Jamie Port out and caused an early end to the race. So unfortunately, Jamie Port out, but Archie McDonald, Angus Grenfell and Carter Thompson will round out the podium. We'll come back and we'll hear from our top 3 after this short break here at Phillip Island, round 6 of the 2019 Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship.
We are the innovators, the specialists, the ones who power the wheels of progress. Extraordinary innovation for on-road and off-road terrain. Estacore technology for improved engine protection and performance. We are going a step beyond to a new generation of motor oils. This is the vision of innovation. The new 300V squared.
Welcome to the track. Welcome to the proving grounds. Welcome to the streets. Welcome to the concrete battlegrounds. To run the streets, it takes swagger and an unapologetic attitude. To rule the track, it takes precision and lightning-fast reflexes. To rule the track and run the streets, it takes fearless instincts.
And welcome back to Phillip Island, round 6 of the 2019 Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship. Let's go down to Emma in Park Fermain.
Well, we're down here at the podium after the guys are back in second position. Angus Grenfell, you've had a couple of good results so far, mate.
Yeah, it was a great race. Lots of argy-bargy. Yeah.
Lots?
A lot. Yeah, so... yeah, it was a great race, very competitive, and just congrats to Archie on the win, and yeah.
Now, when you're talking about argy-bargy, are you feeling comfortable out there with everybody? I know you've done a lot of dirt tracking in the past, but this is a different kettle of fish.
I'm used to it. It's just, it's very, hit a lot, so I got hit in turn 2 up the inside, so, but it's all right, so it's, yeah.
What about the wind out there with these little bikes?
Oh, it's incredibly how slow it makes you go. So that's why slipstream's so helpful. So it makes you go faster and stuff, yeah.
All right, Angus, no worries, mate. Hopefully see you up here later on this afternoon for leg number 3 as we welcome our winner. Fresh from a couple of dirt track titles last weekend. Archie, well done, and you managed to hold on to the win for this one.
Yeah, cheers. It was a bit difficult, but yeah, a few bumps here and there, but yeah, rubbin's racing, I guess they say, but you know, red flag came out, so I was hoping I was in front but a lap before, but you know, everyone was on the bike, besides those few boys that had a spill down at Siberia. But yeah, it was a good race. Everyone put their heart into it, but I was just glad to come home with the win.
Now, you guys don't use the brakes in dirt track very much. You don't use the brakes here very much, do you?
No, we got to hold it flat. Just Honda and MG, a bit of braking, but you know, it's great, different riding styles. But I just love going from one to each other, and it's really good.
All right, mate, all the best, and we'll see you back here later on this afternoon.
Thanks, Bracky.
That's to our top three. Carter Thompson in third, Agnes Grenfell in second position, and taking out the win to continue from his dirt track domination last weekend, Archie McDonald. Back to you guys.
Yeah, thanks very much, Braxy. Clearly not Emma in Park Vermeer with our Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup, but Emma is down on the scene, catching up with some of our Superbike stars. Let's hear from the reigning champion, Troy Herfoss.
Some very exciting news broke this weekend. This guy right here, Troy Herfoss, 2020 signed, sealed and delivered with the Honda Racing Team. Congrats.
Yeah, thanks very much. It's going to be my 7th year with Honda, and yeah, I never dreamed I'd be able to race for as long as I have with such a high-level team. So it's an honour and a pleasure to be racing with them again.
You've been in the paddock for a really long time. How have you seen things change up and down the ASBK pit lane?
It's changed a lot. Competition-wise, the profile of the sport has risen a lot. I think there was a few years there in the early 2000s where the sport was struggling a little bit, and from when I joined back in 2009, it's come a long way, and my 5, 6, 7 years with Honda, the sport's grown a lot, and we've enjoyed it a lot. I love racing. I just want to keep doing it and doing it. And now Troy Bayliss come back and started again at 50. Why can't I do another 20 years?
Very true. We hope to see you for another 20 years. Just quickly, how's married life going?
Yeah, it's great. So we're enjoying it. Nothing's changed too much. So all the guys out there, don't be too scared. It's no different.
Thanks, Troy. Congrats again.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations to Troy Herfoss for that announcement coming into this round that he has signed for Honda next year. The big question is whether they're going to have the brand new bike that's rumoured to be coming in 2020, Steve Martin.
Yeah, I know Troy's very excited. I've spoken to him about that new bike. A few details are starting to sneak through from Honda, but no one's admitting to any configurations or anything. But from what I've heard, it's still an inline 4, but it's rapidly got the same sort of horsepower as the big V4 Panigale, which is the horsepower benchmark.
Well, look at the wind starting to pick up here at Phillip Island. Well, we heard from, I think it was Angus Grenfell that mentioned how slow the Yamaha R15s are in the Oceania Blue Crew Junior Cup because of the headwind. It's going to make this next race so much more exciting because we've got the Supersport 300 riders coming out onto the track now for their second race of the weekend. Just to give you an idea of how good this class is, yesterday in the first race of the championship, we had, I think it was less than 1 second, covered the top 10 riders in this as they came across the line to finish the race. Senna Agius took the race win, so he managed to close down the championship lead for Max Stouffer by a few points, courtesy of that win, where he used the slipstream to perfection to draft past Yanni Shaw, winner of the last round at Winton Motor Raceway, to take the first win for the weekend. But 10 riders covered by less than a second as they made their way to the line for the first race yesterday.
Oh, we've just had one rider, didn't quite catch the number, pull off into the pits there at turn 4, the YMI corner. So one of the riders there won't be taking their place on the grid. But yeah, totally agree with you, Phil. This racing is absolutely sensational.
Actually, it was even better than that because it was Ben Baker that finished in 11th position. That was .979 behind the race win.
That's a pretty hard core, isn't it?
So Max Stouffer leads the championship on 298 points over Senna Agius on 269. That is the updated score after yesterday's race. Hunter Ford in third, Seth Crump in fourth place, Yanni Shaw in fifth, Johnny Littress in sixth, Harry Curry in seventh, Zach Levy, Brandon Demery and Lockie Taylor round out the championship top 10. But any one of those riders in that top 4 have a mathematical chance of taking away this championship because there is still quite a few points up for grabs. 126 still up for grab by my calculations, Steve Martin.
Yeah, nice little battle there for third place in the championship too between Hunter Ford and Seth Crump. There's only a few points between those guys, so going to be interesting to see how they are out on track. But that wind, as you say, I've heard that today is going to be extremely windy, and the trees blowing there indicate that that is the case.
And Seth Crump on the podium yesterday as well, so good result for him. He will start from the second row of the grid as well, on board the only KTM RC 390 in the field. So the riders are coming now to take up their positions on the grid. They should have one more sighting and warm-up lap to complete, to warm those tyres up one final time before they take off for their first of their 4.45 kilometre journeys around the circuit. 7 of them they'll need to complete to take the race win.
Yeah, they're sure to be action-packed as well, aren't they? It's going to be an absolute...
I think it'll be just like the Yamaha R3 Cup and also the Blue Crew Oceania Junior Cup that we've already seen this morning, with positions changing every single corner.
Well, Hunter Ford's already been out on track this morning, if you caught the R3 Cup race earlier on, and he certainly knows what the conditions are like. But some of the other contenders in this race, this will be, other than the morning warm-up, their first hit out this morning.
Yeah, Lockie Taylor on board bike number 151, who will start from pole position, has also already been out there in the Yamaha R3 Cup as the riders head off on this final warm-up lap. Good opportunity to get a practice start in as well, Steve, as they make their way off the line.
Seth Crump got a good practice start in there. You'd think he'd be pretty good at that. Of course, his dad, legend Jason Crump, speedway rider, world champion, double world champion, in fact.
So just a recap of yesterday's race results. We had Senna Adjus from Yanni Shaw and Seth Crump in the top 3 on the podium. Then it was Lockie Taylor in 4th, Hunter Ford in 5th, Max Stouffer in 6th, Luke Johnson, another great ride from him on board the ProWorks Kawasaki 400 in 7th position, Brandon Demery in 8th, Johnny Littress in 9th, Peter Nerlich, great ride from him in position number 10 as well on the TCN racing machine, and Benny Baker, as we mentioned, 11th position and less than 1 second off the lead. But Lockie Taylor will start from pole position, joined on the front row of the grid by Max Stouffer and Yanni Shaw.
John Littress starts off from row 2 with Senna Adjus, yesterday's winner, also next to him, and Seth Crump in 6th position.
Row 3, Hunter Ford, Laura Brown, who's having a fantastic weekend on board the WNR R3 in 8th position, and Luke Johnson rounds out row 3 on board bike number 25.
Watch out for Benny Baker, Brandon Demery and Reece Outred, who's been good today too, from row 4.
Ben Burke, the veteran, on board bike number 60 out of position number 13 on the 5th row, along with Peter Nerlich and Xylus Bunting, another junior making the step up to the Supersport 300 Championship.
Matthew Rindle, Harry Parker and Jacob Hatch, we've seen him in the Junior Cup just a minute ago.
So massive field of Supersport 300 riders will be taking to the grid once again. One of the most exciting classes in motorsport worldwide, Steve Martin, not just here in Australia, worldwide, this Supersport 300 class, and has been for many, many years now. It has been an absolute pleasure to watch over the last few years as this championship has just grown and grown, and you see riders coming from this championship now. Last year's champion Tom Bramich competed in the Supersport 300 World Championship this year, and the good news is that he's signed again for next year, so Tom Bramich heading back overseas to compete in his 2nd year of the Supersport 300 World Championship next year. That's great news for Australian riders doing a good job. So as we make our way down to the line, Max Stouffer leads the championship from yesterday's race winner, Senna Adjus. Lockie Taylor on bike number 151 will start from pole position. Championship leader Stouffer and last round winner Yanni Shaw join him on the front row of the grid. Keep your eye on Seth Crump from the 2nd row of the grid on board bike number 57. Final checks to make sure that everyone is in the right position from the officials. Officials move to the side of the field. We have a red flag at the front of the grid. Red flag is off. We are ready to go. Revs rise. Supersport 300 is go, Steve Martin, as we make our way down towards turn 1. Look like a good start from Max Stouffer on board bike number 27 as they flash down towards turn 1 to Doohan corner, YMF corner this weekend. Lockie Taylor's also got a great start. Littress tries to come down the inside, but I think you'll find it is Max Stouffer that will lead them through turn 1 for the first time. Brandon Demery looked like he got swamped and has fallen back to about 13th or 14th position as they make their way through turn 2, the Suzuki corner for the first time.
Yeah, keep an eye on Seth Crump too. He's moved himself up into that that third position. So Seth Crump on the podium yesterday has got himself nicely there. There's one of the triple three. Is that Laura Brown as well? Who's
triple three's Yanni Shaw.
Okay, Yanni Shaw's got a great start as well. We know how dangerous he can be when he's at the front of these races.
But Laura Brown did get a cracking start, Steve Martin, on board bike number 355. She's back in about 6th or 7th position as we make our way through turn 4 for the first time. It is Lockie Taylor that has taken up the running at the front from Max Stouffer. Yanni Shaw back there in 3rd place. Then it's Seth Crump getting that good start on board the KTM. Back in 5th position. Then I think it might be Senna Adjus on board bike number 81 that has drawn himself up onto the back of the very racy-looking KTM as we make our way up the hill towards the Hayshed at the KTM corner for the first time.
Looks like there's a little bit of a gap between the top 6 and whoever's Ben Burke in 7th position. Good to see Ben Burke in the field as well. Of course, he's raced in Superbikes in the past in this championship. He's moved back to the 300 class and he's doing a pretty good job out there.
Down into Pirelli corner for the first time. It looks like it is now Senna Adjus that's taken the lead on board bike number 81 as we've got one going down. That's Peter Nerlich on board bike number 97. He was a star yesterday. He was inside the top 10, but unfortunately he has crashed out at Pirelli corner on this first lap as Senna Adjus leads Lockie Taylor. So we've got our last race winner leading from the pole position man and the championship leader at the front of this field.
Yeah, Senna Adjus doing such a great job on that Kawasaki. If you think back to the start of the year, he was strong here on the 400 when it first came into the championship as well, so he certainly knows how to make that bike competitive around this circuit.
Look at Luke Johnson on board bike number 25 as well, the ProWorks Kawasaki bike number 25. I just managed to hold out. Seth Crump was leaning on him as they weighed their way through turn 1. Crump has gone like threading a needle here. He's gone up around the outside, then up the inside, and he's moved his way back up into 3rd position ahead of championship leader Max Stouffer on board bike number 27. But it's Yanni Shaw on the 333 machine that used the slipstream to perfection to draft his way past our race leader coming onto the straight, Senna Adjus.
Yeah, keep an eye on Maxi Stouffer though. He's in the middle of that bunch, and when he's there, you can always count on him to do something special. So Maxi Stouffer just breaks down into turn 4 there. Nice little manoeuvre on the YMF corner.
So the run out to Siberia now sees still Yanni Shaw leading this race. But that gap that you mentioned about the top 6, it's just started to get away, has certainly closed up again now. Great to see Benny Burke back in this championship, and he's been getting faster and faster every time he goes out. As Senna Adjus just got swamped on the run up the hill there with the... it looked like he almost maybe even missed a gear because Yanni Shaw went flying past him, and then Seth Crump almost ran into the back of the Kawasaki on board the KTM as they make their way across the top of the hill now and down into Pirelli corner. Lockie Taylor on bike number 51, just trying to make his way through there. I think he might have got balked a fraction. We go back, we'll have a look at a replay now of this incident involving Peter Nerlich on board bike number 97. Looks like he may have just...
yeah, he's just got in there too hot, just lost the front, perhaps didn't warm that front tyre up enough, and you can see him, he's okay. He's sprinting back to get his bike, but not to be, because there he is watching on from the side. What a weekend he's had up to this date, though.
He has certainly, but unfortunately looks like he might be heading off to see the Grinning Dingo and get some work done on that helmet ready for race 3 this afternoon as this field piles its way down into turn 1, the Kawasaki corner. Yanni Shaw going very wide, so is Senna Adjus. But the tight line there was held by Seth Crump on board bike number 57, who's positioned himself on the outside there of Luke Johnson. Yeah, couldn't quite get tipped into the corner because bike number 25 was right where he needed to put his elbow.
Yeah, the RC390, of course, looks like a very nimble bike. It's the only single cylinder amongst the bunch. Everything else out there is a twin cylinder, the R3s, and also the ZX Kawasaki 400 as well.
Well, here we go, down into YMI corner for the YMI Supersport 300 class. It is Senna Adjus back into the lead.
Senna Adjus is looking pretty good out front at the moment.
Sorry, it wasn't Senna Adjus in the lead. It was actually Luke Johnson on board the ProWorks machine, bike number 25.
Well, Luke Johnson, I mean, he has pretty much come from nowhere in the last couple of meetings. He was strong at Winton, and boy, he's announced himself as a front runner in this class.
And you know what that was? It was the change when he started riding for the ProWorks team. Instantly was on the pace and started to announce himself at the front of this field as they make their way up towards the top of Lukey Heights now and across the top of YMI and down into Pirelli corner. It is still Luke Johnson, Senna Adjus and Yanni Shaw that lead from the KTM-mounted Seth Crump on board bike number 57. Then it's Lockie Taylor has made his way back up onto the back of Crump now on board bike number 51, closely shadowing him, bike number 20, Hunter Ford.
We haven't mentioned Hunter Ford yet, but of course, once you do start to mention him, you can be assured that he'll be making his way slowly towards the front. He doesn't necessarily work his way backwards in these races. He always works his way forward.
Yeah, I think he may be just keeping his powder a fraction dry early on in this race, not wanting to show his hand as he continues to develop that brand new R3. Coming down into Kawasaki corner we go. Around the outside goes Senna Agis to assume the race lead over Yanni Shaw. So we've got the three Kawasaki's lead. Well, I was going to say the three Kawasaki's leading from the KTM. So the KTM just goes straight up the inside of Luke Johnson to take up the running in third position now.
That's Laura Brown up there too. Laura Brown's doing a great job in the fifth position at the moment.
Considering that she hasn't ridden for quite a few months after coming back from some pretty serious leg injuries.
Former lap record holder at this circuit too.
Yes, in this class. So certainly no worry about her pedigree around this circuit. And also a member of the Warwick Nowlan racing team, a long-time rider for Warwick Nowlan, the former dual world endurance champion.
Yeah, good to see him here and involved in the sport, bringing the younger riders up in this class.
And Benny Baker riding for that team this weekend as well.
Yeah, Benny Baker, where's he at the moment?
He's just outside the top 10 from memory. Yeah, he's in 12th position.
John Littress has dropped back a little bit too into 11th position at the moment. So that is just in that second group. He's not in this front group, unfortunately.
So the front group is about 9 riders. I think Brandon Demery, the last one on the back of that train as they made their way up the top of the hill. You can see him there on board bike number 11.
It's always a bad spot to be, that 10th or 11th, in that position in the last lap of the race, because you go home saying, well, I'm a second off the race win, but I'm in 11th position. That's how close this class is.
That was exactly what Benny Baker was saying after yesterday. I was less than a second off the race win, and I finished in 11th position. As we come round through Yamaha Revs Your Heart corner and out onto the Motul Pirelli start-finish straight to complete 4 laps of the 7-lap journey, Steve. So we're just over half race distance. It is Senna Agis that leads from Hunter Ford. Well, he's making his way forward right on your prediction. But look at that, sweeping out of the slipstream is Yanni Shaw.
Of course, he's on the new R3, which is better aerodynamic package than the old bike, different front forks as well, and he uses that mid-corner speed. Watch him around the outside there, carries the speed right around the outside of Yanni Shaw, but Yanni Shaw dives back on the inside.
There's a few technical updates this weekend for this class as well. The Kawasaki's had a few revs taken off them to try and even up the competition. It seems to be very even at the moment because we've got a great mix of Kawasaki's, the KTM and the Yamahas also in this lead group. As we come down into YMI corner, it is Senna Agis back up the inside of Yanni Shaw to assume the race lead. Hunter Ford still there in third position. Then it's Luke Johnson, Seth Crump and Max Stouffer.
You've got to say that Senna Agis is looking pretty good at the moment. He's been up there most of the time. He hasn't drifted further back than third or fourth position in this pack at the moment. So to me, he's looking pretty strong for a good result towards the end of this race.
Well, so this is like watching qualifying, really, isn't it? Because the first 5 laps of the 7-lap race are just to get you to the point to start your 2 laps of absolute mayhem to try and take the race win. We're getting to about that point at the moment because we're coming round to complete 5 laps of this 7-lap journey. Senna Agis currently leads. Just looking back there and seeing, I think Max Stouffer and Lockie Taylor are just planning a bit of a strategy over the last few laps as they just seem more than content to sit back there in about 6th or 7th position as Hunter Ford dives up the inside at Yamaha Revs Your Heart corner and takes the lead over Senna Agis. I think Agis will not even use the slipstream now as he pulls out of turn 12, takes the wide line as Hunter Ford just looks at him go blasting past. Seth Crump also in the slipstream. That KTM for a single cylinder is pretty fast, Steve Martin.
Well, it certainly is, but it is getting a slipstream of 10 bikes, so, you know...
that always helps.
It certainly does, but Seth Crump is riding the wheels off it. The strengths of that bike, of course, is its acceleration out of the slower corners and its mid-corner speed.
And also the fact that, as we mentioned, it is the one with the most racy chassis out there, so the combination of the excellent suspension and racy chassis certainly means that he can hold a lot of corner speed on board that KTM. And yeah, he gives away a little bit probably in some areas of the circuit, but he certainly makes up for it in others.
Keep an eye on Yanni Shaw, though, as we come down to less than 10 Ks to go in this race. Yanni Shaw sitting back there in 4th or 5th position at the moment. That's a pretty good position to be in. You don't want to necessarily be at the front right now because pretty much everybody else is calculating tactical, you know, where they're going to pass. And like Yanni Shaw is in a spot where he can use a slipstream, and if he times it right, coming out to that last corner, he will be able to slipstream it over for the win. So
well, that's exactly what happened to him yesterday, isn't it?
That's right. And that's a lot of these guys will be playing those tactics at the moment. Hunter Ford not necessarily in the best position at the moment out front of this one.
And to give you an idea how much the wind is affecting these guys out there on circuit, their lap times are about 2 seconds off the current existing lap record for the Supersport 300 class. As we come down into Pirelli corner for the penultimate time, it is Hunter Ford that leads. It's Yanni Shaw and Luke Johnson, Seth Crump back there in about 5th position, but it is Senna Agius, then Luke Johnson back there in 3rd. Let's have a look at the Senna Agius now as he tries to utilise the slipstream. Johnson, then it's Max Stouffer's made his way up into 4th place, so he's going to be able to use the slipstream of Luke Johnson here as they come out onto the start-finish straight. They will get the last lap board now. Steve Martin, 4.45 kilometres of mayhem to go as we come down towards turn 1, the YMF corner for the last time in this race. It is Senna Agius that leads from Hunter Ford, who's been able to dive up into 3rd position now as we come through turn 1. It is still Luke Johnson from Max Stouffer.
Well, yeah, good job there by Hunter Ford and Senna Agius. They've got a slight gap back to Luke Johnston, who sits in 3rd place at the moment, but it is Senna Agius on the Kawasaki who's just taking the lead of this one at the moment. Hunter Ford knows that if he's going to win this, he's not going to be able to do it by slipstreaming over the line. That Kawasaki just seems to be too fast for his package this weekend, so he needs to try and get past now. He's going to make a dive up the inside here. He has to. He's on the brakes hard, but Senna Agius is hard to outbrake him.
Yeah, it looked like both Luke Johnson and Yanni Shaw got a great run around the outside of turn 3 and just went up the inside as hard as you can be on the brakes to try and get the run on Hunter Ford. Max Stouffer's also managed to slipstream his way through there as well on board bike number 27. So they take the run up the hill for the final time towards the top of Lukey Heights and the run down into the Pirelli corner.
Hunter Ford got a great drive out there. He's up the inside now into the Hayshed corner there. Not much room left by Yanni Shaw. He's too smart to leave a gap there, but Hunter Ford now is back into 4th position. That's pretty good.
Yeah, look, I think Yanni Shaw is hoping to repay the favour what happened to him yesterday from race winner Senna Agius as he comes down the inside of Luke Johnson. Luke Johnson is so late on the brakes, there's no way up the inside for Yanni Shaw. And in fact, he's got Hunter Ford that's positioned himself perfectly on the outside of Yanni Shaw on the exit of turn 10 for the inside run through turn 11. As we come round through the final corner now for the last time, it is Senna Agius. Luke Johnson's the man in prime position for the slipstream though as they come through Yamaha Revsjehat corner.
Yeah, he ran up on him a little bit quickly there, but the group's all together. This is anybody's race as they head over the line now, Phil. And it looks like it could be Luke Johnson who moves out of the slipstream, but he just misses out. And Luke Johnson, according to our timing screen, wins this one.
Yeah, Luke Johnson for ProWorks Racing takes the win over Senna Agius and Yanni Shaw. Hunter Ford hung on for 4th place. Lockie Taylor in 5th place. Max Stouffer back in 6th as the rest of this field makes their way to the line. Just looking there to see Xylus Bunting come across the line. Another great result for him. I think that's his debut in the Supersport 300 class this weekend, Xylus. So great result for him on another one of the ProWorks machines. But congratulations, Luke Johnson. That'll be his first win in this class. Fastest man in the race, a 1:49.009 on the last lap. Yanni Shaw, who takes 3rd position on the 333 machine.
Yeah, great result for Luke Johnson. I mean, he's come from nowhere. I'm so happy for him. It's always good to see a new face up the front there, and brilliant result for him. You know, like good for Yanni Shaw as well. He backed up his results from yesterday with another podium, and Senna Agius in 2nd position. Well, just missed out on that win. Hasn't got the double yet. Maxi Stouffer back in 6th.
Yeah, but still good points for the championship. Yeah. Held a 39-point lead coming into this round, so has lost a few points as Max Stouffer, but he's still gained a lot of momentum as well. Luke Johnson takes the win from Senna Agius and Yanni Shaw. Hunter Ford in 4th, as we mentioned. Lockie Taylor 5th. Max Stouffer in 6th. Seth Crump in 7th. Laura Brown in 8th. Brandon Demery in 9th, and Ben Burke rounds out the top 10. I think everyone except for Laura Brown in that lead group had a chance at leading the race at some stage. Johnny Littress in 11th. Benny Baker in 12th, Xylus Bunting in 13th, Ryan Smith in 14th. Then it was Matthew Rindell rounded at the top 15 with Steph James, Noel Mann, Grace Pooch and Ryan Moscardini and Patrick Lee rounding out the top 20. But Luke Johnson, I think it's an indication there, Steve Martin, of just how over the moon he is with his first win.
Absolutely. What a great result for the ProWorks team. This is a young lad in a hurry, and, you know, he took it to the best. I mean, let's face it, Maxi Stauffer was just last week overseas winning races and being close to the front in the IDM Championship in Assen.
Well, let's have a look at the highlights of the first of our Supersport 300 races for the day. Their second of the weekend. Max Stauffer got a good jump from the start and led them on the way down in towards turn 1. But Johnny Littress was making his intentions felt quite early, along with Yanni Shaw and Senna Agis. They made their way through turn 10 for the first time. It was Agis on bike number 81 that took the lead over Lockie Taylor.
Yeah, Peter Nerlich went down and he was out early on, but I'll tell you what, he's on a roll at the moment. He's certainly picked his game up. But keep an eye on Luke Johnson, because he was having the ride of his life, his short career, but he was up at the front there and he was dicing with guys like Senna Agis, Yanni Shaw, all of the names that we're used to.
So Senna Agis had a chance at leading, then Yanni Shaw assumed the lead as they came down in towards turn 1. Then it was quickly taken back by Senna Agis on board bike number 81. Hunter Ford made his way forward and got up to the start, up to the front of the race early on as well, Steve Martin, and assumed the lead, but then that was short-lived because Yanni Shaw came back at him. But then Hunter Ford, this move around the outside just shows how much corner run-in speed he was carrying, and especially at this area of the track as well, turn 12, Yamaha Res Your Heart corner. But leading onto the start-finish straight in this class, you're always going to give a slipstream advantage to your competitors.
Especially if you're Hunter Ford. He's not the smallest guy in the class, that's for sure. And at a track like Phillip Island, you need to be as small as you can be. So Hunter Ford was trying as hard as he could, but Luke Johnson nipped up the inside. Let's not forget Seth Crump. He was there on that KTM as well, doing the best job that he could, using the mid-corner speed of his RC390. As they headed into Siberia, it was Senna Agis. Now, we know that he's a good bet for a podium at Phillip Island. He's done it before and he was aiming to do it again. But he didn't count on that man in second position, Luke Johnson, getting by him on the line.
And all the while these riders diced for the lead, Laura Brown was sitting there looking ready to pounce as they came round into the dying stages of the race. But in the end, she just didn't get that slipstream run that she would have wanted as they came to the line. And it was the race win going to Luke Johnson for the first time this year, and he'll be down in Park May along with our other top 3. Let's hear from them now.
Thank you very much, Phil. Now, if you don't know Yanni Shaw well, everyone, he's a bit of a joker. He's given me his sunnies. They're pretty cool. Do I get to keep them?
They're your sunnies. I don't know what you're talking about.
Hey, sunshine is what we like at Phillip Island, but how was the wind out there?
It was crazy. It was crucial, that slipstream. It was really, really difficult in the wind. It was pushing you off the track, off your line, so you had to adjust it every single time, every single lap, but it was a fantastic race. Happy to be out there.
Good luck for the next one.
Thank you so much.
In second position, Senna Agis, welcome back to the podium. Another one for your 2019 season.
Thanks, Emma. Yeah, I could lead onto the straight pretty much every lap, and Luke just got in my slipstream, but looking forward to this afternoon.
Very exciting racing indeed. Well done. And ladies and gentlemen, his very first win in this class. Give him a round of applause. Luke Johnston, congratulations.
Yeah, I know what to say. The bike was perfect. Rob from Wellsprung made the bike handle awesome. The competition out there is just phenomenal. The weather's perfect. I just can't thank ProWorks, Moto Garage, Russell Davis and Bikeworks, Ben Weld and Motul.
Fantastic effort. Good luck for the next one. And Phil Harlem, I think that these sunnies would suit you. What do you reckon?
Yeah, that not quite my style, Emma. Anyway, let's go and hear now from Steve Martin, because we've heard the importance of tyres around this Phillip Island circuit. Steve Martin is on the game and trying to find out what's going on with tyres this weekend.
Well, it's all pretty hectic here at Pirelli at the moment. As you can see, there's tyres flying around everywhere. People are starting to having to make decisions as to what tyres they're going to use for the race here this weekend. There's a couple of different fronts that they can choose. There's a small front or the wider front. That just comes down to personal preference. But 99% of people on the grid have decided to go with that bigger front. It gives more grip and more durability. On the rear, there's a soft tyre that they all used for qualifying yesterday to give those super fast lap times that we saw. But for the race, pretty much everyone's going to go for that medium rear tyre. It's a Phillip Island specific tyre that can give those constant lap times throughout the race.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Great to hear about the tyres, the Pirelli options here this weekend. That new 125 with front tyre is certainly one that has made an immediate impact in this championship in 2019. Brought in at the beginning of the year, and run in conjunction with the 265 rear tyre. So riders out there that are listening and thinking about the tyres that they've got on their motorcycle, a fraction wider than most tyres on the front, the popular 125 option, but a 265 is a massive chunk of rubber to be having on the back. And all of these riders used it to great effect yesterday, considering the conditions a little bit windy and track temperature, although perfect, had to compete with those windy conditions. We did see some fast lap times, the fastest ever qualifying lap for Mad Mike Jones yesterday on board bike number 46 as he set that pole position, his 4th of the year, and took the $500 Elite Roads Pole Position Award. Steve, it is all about tyres this circuit, isn't it?
Oh, mate, yeah, it's, I'll tell you what, just after having walked back from the pits over there, it's pretty hectic out there. There's a lot of decisions as to going on. What is interestingly enough, I found out it was Josh Waters that decided to go with the small front tyre. The rest of the field going with that, the wider, the newer front. So Josh Waters thinking that there's still some issue there for him as to why he can't adapt to it or something, but he's working on it. But it's Wayne Maxwell, boy, he's got to get some good results in this one, doesn't he?
Well, he has. He's been the man with momentum over the last couple of rounds. He's won 2 of the last 4 races. When he hasn't been winning, he's been finishing in 2nd position, and he's closing the championship lead up all of the time. That half points at the last round certainly helped him out. Also, the 1 point for pole position here at this round helped out Mike Jones. He's taken that lead out now to 12.5 points. Both of them will start on the front row of the grid. Speaking of the front row of the grid, that's where Emma is.
I am with the guy starting from 1st position. Hello, Mike Jones. It's a bit of deja vu, starting on the front row in the 1st position 4 times in a row.
It looks fantastic. You know, the 1st position is the best place to start from, so I'm really excited, looking forward to this race. It's a little bit more tricky conditions today than we've had in the last couple of days. The wind's picked right up in. That looks quite sunny. The wind here is quite bad, so I think it's going to make it a little bit more tricky for myself to be able to get clean laps in. So at the end of the day, just need a good start and then see what pans out during the race.
You've got some guys that want it bad behind you, including Wayne Maxwell, who is a bit of a master of this track.
Yeah, definitely. You know, like the competition's really strong here, and you know, the races are going to be very competitive. Definitely, Wayno's the probably the strongest competitor right at the moment, but I definitely think I'm on the best package. So we'll see at the end of the race.
Go get him. Good luck.
Cheers. Thank you.
All right, guys. It's a busy grid today. Welcome to the grid. Let's go for a bit of a walk. May as well jump in here with Wayno, the guy starting from 2nd position, the guy that everyone says is the master of this track. Can you be the master and win this one?
Yeah, look, I mean, that's obviously the plan. We come here to win, and we put the work in behind the scenes, so hopefully it's, we put us in a good position. It's going to be tough. It's, you know, tough conditions compared to yesterday. The wind, not a lot of experience in the warm-up with only a couple of laps. So, yeah, look, it's going to be a really big challenge, but I think we're up for it at Team Suzuki X-Star.
What does it mean with this win? I mean, especially that fly into turn 1.
Yeah, turn into the fastest turn on the racetrack, turn 1, and the wind tries to blow you off the road. So it's, you know, over 300 kilometres an hour it'll be every lap down there, I'd say, today. And, yeah, going to have to just be pretty smart about it, try to use the wind where you can and be patient where it's against you.
Go get him.
Thank you.
Boys.
Yeah, thanks very much, Emma. Great to hear from Wayne and also Mike Jones. But big talk yesterday was the man that will start on the front row of the grid with them. Matt Walters on board the privateer Kawasaki ZX-10RR for Kawasaki Connection, Repsol and Rover coaches.
That was a brilliant result for Matty and the team down there. They really deserved it, but it's been coming. It's certainly been coming because he's been strong all year, and basically it's the best I've ever seen him ride.
He's been fast all weekend here at Phillip Island as well. Keep your eye on that second row of the grid, though. Daniel Falzon, Troy Herfoss and Crew Halliday. What a daunting lot of riders to have standing right behind you. Ladies and gentlemen, time for the singing of the Australian National Anthem.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a couple of minutes.
Well, Steve Martin, that's made me even more excited now. I love hearing the singing of the Australian national anthem before the first of our Kawasaki Superbike races. As we mentioned, though, before the national anthem, that second row of the grid, that's three riders that are all looking for big performances this weekend for completely different reasons. Troy Herfoss wants to take the points back in the championship. Crew Halliday's looking to maintain his second position, and Daniel Falzon needs some form. Back down to the grid with Emma.
Hey, all eyes are on this guy, Matt Walters. No pressure at all, but first time starting on the front row of the grid. Well done.
Thanks. Yeah, no pressure. No, it's good to be on the front row. Yeah, we'll just see how we go. Try and get a good start, but just try and stay in front of these guys. It's going to be a pretty big race, so it'll be looking forward to getting involved.
Obviously, with this competitive grid around you, track position from the very beginning is important.
Yeah, it's especially the first 2 laps of this place. Like, if you get dropped probably 2 or 3 seconds and everyone's times are so close, it is really difficult to pick it back up. So track position is going to be crucial for the first 2 laps, and that's what we'll be working on.
Matt, well done. Good luck. Go get it. All right, let's keep walking down the grid. The sun is shining. It's a very long grid. Let's go check in with Daniel Falzon. Great qualifying for him, starting from 4th. Can you get this podium you've been waiting for? Come on.
Who knows? I mean, we're at a really strong field here, but Phillip Island have had some really good success in the past, and I'm feeling good this weekend. The wind's played havoc with us, and it's absolutely complete opposite wind direction that we've had in qualifying and testing. So a bit of a land of the unknown, but looking forward to this race.
Good luck, Daniel.
Thanks, Emma.
I think we've got time for one more. Why not? Crew hasn't got his helmet on yet, but he is sitting second in that championship. He really needs to have a good race. Just jumping quickly. Hey, Crew, good luck. How are you feeling for this one?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty hectic going into this race. First race, you know, it's pretty windy, but everyone's in the same conditions, so just need to try to stay with the front group and grab as many points as I can.
Go get him.
Thank you.
I haven't been kicked off as yet, so I'm just going to keep walking down and may as well check in with Brian Starring. Brian, qualifying means nothing to you. You always get up there on the podium no matter where you are.
Yeah, well, let's hope that's the case again.
Did I just jinx you?
I don't intend to make it hard for myself, but anyway, I seem to be good with the challenge.
Good luck. We'll keep heading down the grid. Let's check in with Marcus Kyoto. A little bit further down than where he qualified at the last round. Marcus, strategy for this one?
Yeah, we're a bit further back from last round, so starting in 10th, but yeah, hopefully we can move up a few spots early on and then try and stay with the front guys.
Best of luck. All right, guys, we're clearing the grid. Who will win the very first race? Cannot wait. Kawasaki Superbike Race number 1. Up to our commentators, Phil Harlem and Steve Martin.
Yeah, thanks very much, Emma. And it is, as you mentioned, a very long grid. Everyone likes to come to Phillip Island and race, and this is the premier motorsport category in Australia for motorcycles. Just looking back on that third row of the grid, we're talking about the second row of the grid. What about the third row? All of them 3 times Australian champions. And then back on the next row of the grid, you've got 4 times Australian champion Jamie Stouffer and multiple New Zealand champion Damon Rees joining Mark Kyoto back there on the 4th row of the grid. The top 12 riders have all won national championships except for one guy, Marcus Kyoto. He's been riding bikes for 3.5 years.
Yeah, pretty impressive stuff by him to be able to mix it up with all of those other guys. But I'll tell you the thing that was interesting and caught my eye, we heard the riders talking about the wind. The shot we had just before when you were looking over the water, you could see how rough the ocean was there. There it is there. Look at that. That's an indication as to what these riders are up against. There's a big amount of crosswind at the moment. It seems to be changing around all the time. The riders haven't had a lot of experience in it, so they're going to be feeling these conditions out.
And a good point from Daniel Falzon. The wind is the exact opposite of what they've had. They've had a headwind most of the time down the straight. They've now got a tailwind, but a tailwind down the straight, Steve Martin, means a headwind at several parts of this circuit. You know this track better than most. Where is it going to really affect them apart from the main straight?
Well, the big thing that they're going to get caught out with is going too deep into turn 1, because they're going to add another 10 k's an hour onto their speeds as they head into turn 1. That's how much difference this makes. As you're heading up the other way, the wind sort of helps you turn into the hay shed. It actually helps turn the bike because it catches the bike on the left-hand side. So it's, you know, it can be an advantage and a disadvantage.
Well, Mike Jones leads the championship on 218.5 points from Crew Halliday in second on 206. Then it's Brian Starring in third on 198.5. Troy Herfoss and Wayne Maxwell, only 3 points between them in fourth and fifth position. And then Josh Waters on 181 points is still well and truly in the race of this championship. Matt Walters, the leading privateer, starting from the front row of the grid in seventh. Then it's Daniel Falzon, Al Phillips, and Arthur Cece's unfortunately not here this weekend, but hopefully we'll see Arthur back at the last round of the championship in about a month's time at Sydney Motorsport Park. Well, riders are making their way around through this final sector of the circuit now to take up their positions on the grid. You can see some of them having a bit of a stretch there. I think that may have been, was it Lockie Yepes just stretching his arms and getting ready to take on this daunting 12 laps of the Phillip Island circuit. Jamie Stouffer on board bike number 27, debuting the brand new Panigale V4R here this weekend for Boost Mobile, Craig McMartin Racing. But as we mentioned, Mike Jones starts from the front row of the grid in first position, joined there by Wayne Maxwell and Matty Walters.
Then, of course, Daniel Falzon. Good qualifying from him. Troy Herfoss and Crew Halliday, row 2.
Third row of the grid, Josh Waters, Glenn Allison and Brian Starring, as we mentioned, all 3 times Australian champions.
Mark Kyoto, good job by him. And Damon Rees there as well. Jamie Stafford, welcome back.
Fifth row of the grid, Al Phillips, Lachlan Epps and Aaron Morris had a big crash yesterday. Hopefully the BMW's all good to go today.
Sloane Frost from New Zealand, David Barker and Matt Tooley in row 7.
Yeah, great to see the Phillip Island local, Matt Tooley, back there in 18th position. In 19th, it's Phil Charr, Brendan McIntyre from Western Sydney on board the Western Motorcycle Suzuki, and Dean Hasler on board his BMW in 21st.
Nathan Spiteri's back as well. Trent Gibson on his new V4 Panigale and Michael Edwards on the Yamaha.
As we mentioned, a massive field, 24 riders. We are ready to go, Steve Martin. Mike Jones leads the championship and starts from pole position. Superbikes are go as we make our way off the line. A great start from Mike Jones on board the Desmo Sport Ducati. Matt Walters got a good start, but his front wheel's starting to go sideways as he tries to apply the power down in towards turn 1. Daniel Falzon has also got a cracking start, as did Troy Herfoss around the outside in towards turn 1 on bike number 1, the Penrite Honda. Good start there for the reigning champion, and Brian Starring is well and truly in the mix on board bike number 67, as we mentioned, off the line, starting back there from the third row of the grid.
Look at Maxwell, though. He's done exactly what he needed to do. He held it on into turn 1, went round the outside of Mike Jones and takes the lead. And that is critical. He needs to win this one. And look at the gap he's pulled out already. There's on the absolute limit. And up the inside goes number 12, Matty Walters. He's not giving this up.
No, he certainly had a red-hot go there. I think he may have lost a couple of positions, though. He had the Rover Coaches Kawasaki Connection machine all crossed up. Herfoss and Falzon managed to sight their way through. Josh Waters back there just ahead of Mark Kyoto, sitting behind Brian Starring as they make their way up towards the hay shed through KTM corner. But look at the lead of Wayne Maxwell. He's trying to psychologically break them on the first lap of this race as they come up towards the top of Lukey Heights, one of his favourite areas of the circuit.
You know what? The first lap is the best lap to make the biggest gap you can on the field, and he's doing a good job. But what about Herfoss? This isn't his favourite track, you know. He never really has a great result here. But coming towards the end of this season, normally he can back off at this point because he's got such a lead. He can't do that this year. He's got to give it everything he's got.
Well, let's see what the Honda can do in the slipstream of the Desmo Sport Ducati, the bike that all of the riders are saying is the fastest bike out there as they come through turn 12 now. The Yamaha revs your heart corner and out onto the Motul Pirelli. Start, finish straight. Troy Herfoss is just trying to stay in the slipstream, but look at the Ducati. It just pulls away as they Mike Jones opens the taps and spears the bike down in towards turn 1. Matt Walters doing a great job. Look how fast the Kawasaki is. It's pulled up onto the back of the Honda, and Daniel Falzon has gone with him as well on board bike number 25.
I'll tell you what, I reckon he's gone past Daniel Falzon as Matt Walters. He's put himself back up in that position he's in, and he's doing a great job to be able to keep up with these guys. If he can just stay there for a couple of laps, I reckon he'll settle in.
Well, round through turn 3, it is still Wayne Maxwell that had over a 1 second lead as they came through that intermediate. Looks, if anything, like Herfoss has been able to put the Honda up the inside. That's that chassis that we've been speaking about all weekend, and the way that Troy Herfoss has got so much confidence in the way that the boys have set up that Penrite Honda. He's able to put the bike anywhere on track this weekend, and for a circuit that he reckons he doesn't get along with this weekend, he has looked very, very strong.
Well, I was lucky enough to ride that bike around here a couple of weeks ago, and I can tell you now, it is a sweet handling little package, and it does work well at this Phillip Island circuit. Whatever they've done, it's an easy bike to ride here, and I reckon that Herfoss has got the bit between the teeth this weekend. He's got to make it count.
Oh, look at the foot out there from Troy Herfoss, showing all of the aggression coming down into the Pirelli corner. Crew Halliday starting to move forward as well on board bike number 65. Remember, he sits second in the championship. He needs to get as many points as he can. Said he had a few little difficulties in qualifying, but he was looking to try and run a strong race today on board the Yamaha Racing Team YZF R1M.
It's going to be interesting to see what the lap times are first time over the line. 32.8, that's a pretty impressive lap time in these conditions for Wayne Maxwell. 33.0 for Troy Herfoss in second.
Well, a lot of them actually said that they thought about a low 33 was probably going to be the race pace, and there Wayne Maxwell just definitely trying to break them early on. In fact, the next rider, apart from Troy Herfoss, Mad Mike Jones, was at 33.6. So mid-33s for Jones, Walters, Falzon and Crew Halliday as well.
12 laps around here is a long way, though. Don't be fooled that Maxwell's going to run away with this one, because he is giving it everything he's got. But the more that you push early on, the less tyre you'll have later on. So he's obviously going for the attack method early on.
Yeah, well, Matt Walters, we know, is using that big fat front tyre. And one of the things is that it's giving them a lot of stability on the brakes. You can see how fast he runs into turn 4 there, but couldn't quite get past Mike Jones on board bike number 46. Obviously, he's got a lot of confidence in that Desmo Sport Ducati. That was the thing we noticed at Morgan Park too, was that Mike Jones seemed to be able to run into the corners just so fast on board that bike. The Desmo Sport team, led by Paul Free and Ben Henry, have done a great job with the setup of that machine as well.
Yeah, well, I know that one thing that the Ducati boys do well is that they work on the bike towards the end of the race. So I wouldn't be thinking too much about the positions and everything at the moment. I don't think that Mike Jones is on the absolute limit yet. I think that Ducati's going to get faster as the race goes on.
I don't think Troy Herfoss cares. He just wants to reel in his former teammate Wayne Maxwell as they make their way around through turn 12 now and out onto the Motul Pirelli start-finish straight. The good news is that Jones is not close enough to Herfoss to be able to utilise the slipstream. Herfoss has done a fantastic job over this lap to open up a considerable gap over Mike Jones as they come round through turn 1. Oh, Herfoss has run wide. He's run extremely wide. He's kept the bike on track, but he has lost a lot of distance, and Jones, Walters, Crew Halliday and Daniel Falzon have closed right in onto the reigning champion on board the Penrite Honda, bike number 1.
Matty Walters is right on the back of a podium here. He's in a really good position at the moment, and he's staying with these guys. It's great to see.
Look at them all run wide as they come out of turn 3. Herfoss has got the narrow run into the corner. He manages to hold out Jones. There was no way up the inside there for Mike Jones as they come out of turn 4 and make the run out towards Siberia. Maxwell has gone. He has cleared out. This is where the real battle is at the moment. It's the battle for second position between Herfoss, Jones, Walters, the 2 Yamaha Racing Team riders, and is that Josh Waters arriving on the scene as well? Watch out for the 3-time Australian Superbike champion on board bike number 21.
Well, Josh Waters knows how to win around this circuit. He has done it before on the Suzuki, so keep an eye on him, and he will definitely want to be at least on the podium with his teammate out front at the moment.
Just having a look, Mark Kyoto is the next rider back there, just off the back of this lead group. Both the Yamahas have actually just gone up the inside of Matt Walters, who now is coming under big attention from Josh Waters on board bike number 21.
Nevertheless, it's still good to see Matty Walters on the Kawasaki Connection machine up there. The privateer mixing it with the factory back machines. This is a great result for him in that private Kawasaki team.
Well, they've got the tailwind down the start-finish straight as well. Jones goes past Herfoss as they make the run down in towards turn 1. The Yamahas close up onto the back of Herfoss's Penrite Honda as well, with Halliday just leading his teammate Daniel Falzon, both of them looking for a strong result here this weekend.
Yeah, Halliday's fastest lap of the race so far, 33.3, 34.1 last time through, so lap times have dropped off a lot. Wayne Maxwell, the only man in the 33s last time round, so Maxwell is on an absolute mission. He reckons that he can get the lap time without having the tyre grip, so that's what he's working on. He can just ride that lap time on a slide.
Jones has run wide on the exit. Herfoss has gone back up the inside. Jones comes back down the inside. It's the battle of red bikes as they make the turn left, go up towards the top of the circuit now through the hay shed. Just having a look, Waters has actually passed Walters on the run up through Siberia as well. So Josh Waters making his way forward on board bike number 21.
Mike Jones's bike was looking a little bit ugly out of Siberia then. So, yeah, out of the YMF corner, just a bit shaky there. So probably not as smooth as he would like it to be at the moment.
Now, what Matt Walters can do now, Steve, is he can just calm down a little bit, sit on the back of Josh Waters. He's at the back of this lead group now. He will be able to get the slipstream and maybe just take a lap or two to get his composure back, because he is sitting up there battling with the upper echelons of Australian motorcycle racing. All of the bikes ahead of him are all factory-supported team riders, and he's there on the privateer bike that's essentially run out of the family business in Cessnock, New South Wales.
Well, that's exactly what I would do as we look at Crew Halliday now. He's getting... wants to look for a way past and join the party up the front, which is good to see, because he needs to get a good result for his championship. But that's what Matty Walters needs to do right now. He needs to stay out of trying to battle with these guys, but sit there just for a little bit.
Down to M.
Bill Tainton, we know that Suzuki does very well around this track. A great start by Wayne, and Josh moving up too.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Wayne is riding the race that he is designed to ride. You know, he likes to get out in front and just try and create a gap and then control the race from there. And, of course, Josh is in a good spot trying to claw his way up to Wayne. It'd be really, really good if we could get 1-2, but, you know, we'll see how it goes. They're really doing it hard out there in this wind.
Thanks, Phil. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks very much. Great to hear from Phil Tainton, the guru of Suzuki race tuning, and his riders are on a charge at the moment. Maxwell is nearly 2.5 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. The rest of the field is led by Mike Jones on board bike number 46, but he's got the reigning champion, Troy Herfoss, camped on his ducktail as they make their way across the top of Lukey Heights and down into Pirelli Corner. Crew Halliday, who's second in the championship, is there as well on board 65. Daniel Fowles and his teammate on 25, looking for a strong result here at Phillip Island, a scene of much success on his privateer machine many years ago. Then you've got Waters and Walters. Inside the top 10 as well, we have Brian Starring and Glenn Allerton in 9th and 10th position. And also just outside that top 10, Jamie Stouffer debuting the brand new V4R for Boost Mobile, Craig McMartin Racing this weekend.
Yeah, good to see we've got a couple of the new V4R Panigales in the field this weekend, and we like the look of them. They look very sexy out there on track, and they sound awesome.
So here we go through Yamaha Motor Finance corner turn 1 and down into Suzuki corner turn 2. It is Jones that still leads. We have completed 6 laps, Steve Martin. We're at half race distance, and it is Maxwell that has a 2.5 second lead. 2.7 seconds now, in fact, lead over the rest of the field. So Maxwell still circulating in the mid-33s. He's the only man in this race so far that has dipped into the 32-second bracket on that first flying lap.
Yeah, he's definitely controlling this race, like we heard Phil Tainton say. He's out in front. He did make a mistake last time through. He dipped into the 34s, but that was a mistake because he's back into the 33s now. Half a second a lap, 0.6 of a second a lap quicker than Mike Jones this time around. But once again, you can see Mike Jones, the rear of that V-twin Panigale just moving around, and Herfoss is actually looking pretty smooth at that point. So Herfoss will be liking what he sees at the moment, because he can see that Mike Jones looks like he might be starting to get himself into some trouble.
Well, as they came across the start-finish line, there was only 0.7 of a second between Jones and Walters in this group. That has blown out a little bit now, and Jones and Herfoss have just started to manage to put a little bit of a gap between themselves and Crew Halliday and Daniel Falzon, who are leading the charge of the Light Brigade right behind. As the pit board goes out for Wayne Maxwell, you can see there, position number 1, 5 laps to go. 46 is right behind him, and he's given him the gap as well. So Maxwell getting all the information he needs to manage this race.
Well, he's just dipped back into the 134.2 compared to Jones 33.8. So he's a little bit up and down at the moment, is Wayne Maxwell. He's making the odd little mistake here, doing the best he can.
We've got one down there at the... I think that's bike number 24 down there at YMF Corner.
It's Matt Tooley. Yeah, Matt
Siberia,
Tooley.
the local man. Well, he hasn't got far to go home and get some parts if he needs them. Lives here on Phillip Island.
Yeah, so, yeah, unfortunately for him, but he'll be able to pick that bike up and repair it. But look at Jonesy moving around again. On the limit there as he tips in. I'm liking the look of Herfoss.
Yep, Waters up the inside of Falzon as well, moving ahead at YMI Corner turn 4. Strong on the brakes there for Josh Waters. I wonder if he's using the skinny tyre in this race, or if he's reverted to the more common, the new fat 125 profile front tyre.
Well, I know that the team will be trying to get him to move to that fatter front tyre, because that is the future. That is the more grip. But you can see now different lines there between the two red bikes. Herfoss is looking for a way through.
Keep your eye on Josh Waters on board bike number 21. He just charged up the hill to the hayshed, and he's brought himself right up onto the back of Crew Halliday. Look at the gap he's put between himself and Falzon on board bike number 25 in only 3 corners.
Yeah, he's doing a great job. Is Waters. He's riding today like we know that he can ride. He's had a pretty quiet year compared to what he's had in the past. Of course, he knows how to win championships, and he'll be doing his absolute best to try and get on the podium. It's been a while since he's been on the podium.
Herfoss looked to be carrying a lot more corner speed through turn 12, but once the Desmo Sport Ducati opens the taps, Jones manages to pull away. Waters right up onto the back of Crew Halliday now as Herfoss gets back into Herfoss territory now, doesn't it? It's where that Honda chassis can come to the fore. He tries to go up the inside. Jones is just a fraction wide. Herfoss on bike number 1. The Penrite Honda is up the inside, back into second place now. Can he pull a gap out before they get round to the start-finish straight? We know how fast that Ducati is on the straight, but this is Troy Herfoss lands now.
Yeah, and that's why he did it. He made it early in the lap because he knows he's going to have to pull out a bit of a gap, like at least 3 or 4 bike lengths before they get onto that main straight, or Mike Jones is just going to go blasting back by him. So Herfoss really has to put the hammer down there. Looks like that gap's closing down to Wayne Maxwell out front too.
And I think Crew Halliday's also got the hurry up as well because he's really tried to go with these riders in front. Look at that move from Troy Herfoss. That is a man that can put that bike anywhere on the circuit that he needs to. That was a brilliant move on the entry into Suzuki Corner.
Yeah, absolutely. Good drive up the inside there, and Mike Jones has been able to stick with them. I tell you what, they are catching hand over fist up to Wayne Maxwell at the moment. I wonder if Wayne has gone for the soft option tyre.
Well, we'll know when they come round to complete this lap what the lap times were. This is the 9th lap of the 12-lap journey.
Bit of movement there from Maxwell on the rear. You can just see the rear of his bike starting to slide around as they tip in to the Yamaha corner, the final corner here, turn 12. The most important corner on the final lap of this circuit.
Well, I think Herfoss has got just enough of a gap that if Jones does catch up to him, that Herfoss will be able to launch an assault back on the brakes as they come down towards turn 1. Look at the speed of the Desmo Sport Ducati, but you can see there, Herfoss just let him catch up and then went for the brakes late. He's run wide, but I think he's kept it on track, and he should have the inside line into turn 2. Waters is up into 4th place now. He's ahead of Crew Halliday on board bike number 21, the Mildura Missile on a charge.
Well, these guys were 0.6 quicker than Maxwell out front last time round. Maxwell in the 34s, and these boys are just finding their straps. 33.5 for Herfoss last time through.
Yeah, all of them in the 33s, all the way back to Matty Walters in 7th place. A great ride from the privateer. He's still hanging on to the back of Daniel Falzon's factory Yamaha YZF R1M.
Yeah, that's Herfoss now. He knows that he hasn't got it all his own way yet because Mike Jones is just managing to claw on there. But the danger man for those two guys, as you say, is Josh Waters on the Suzuki. He's looking pretty good at the moment there. His bike's looking the smoothest of the bunch.
Crew Halliday looked to be getting all sorts of tail endy on the way out of there, and as they drive up the hill as well, the bike number 65 rear end was really starting to look like it was struggling for grip.
This is a good result for Crew. I know it's not where he wants to be, but he's had some struggles this weekend. So to be able to sit on the pace of these guys, hopefully they can make a couple of little changes which will bring him forward in this afternoon's races.
Well, we're coming around to complete 10 laps now. So as they come across the start-finish line, Steve Martin, there'll be less than 9 kilometres to go. Maxwell's lead has been trimmed down to under 2 seconds now as they come round through Yamaha corner and down on the Motul Pirelli straight. It is Maxwell that leads. What is the gap back to Herfoss in second position? Jones is in third, then it's Waters and Crew Halliday rounding out the top 5 with Daniel Falzon and Matt Walters, the last 2 riders in that lead group. Then it's Brian Starring has moved his way up to 8th position. Mark Chiodo in 9th, Glenn Allerton rounding out the top 10.
This is a great ride by Herfoss now. He's just like mid-33s the whole way through now, 2 or 3 laps in a row. Since he's hit the front, he's been able to sit on that 33.5. If he'd have been able to do that from the start, he would have been up there with Wayne Maxwell.
Well, around through turn 3 we go for the penultimate time and down into turn 4. The gap now is down to, as they come through intermediate number 2. It was 1.8 seconds as they came through intermediate number 1.
Maxwell's got plenty. He's got plenty at the moment. He's okay.
Well, he's pretty smart, Wayne Maxwell.
Yeah, he knows. He only needs to win by the smallest of margins, and he's got it in the bag if he can just hold it together. He won't do anything silly. There is a back marker coming up, though, that he'll have to keep an eye out for.
Well, the big question is, has Troy Herfoss opened up enough of a gap as Jones goes up the inside? Herfoss got pushed wide there.
Did he miss a gear going in there or something? Something looked a little bit odd there.
I think he felt the thunder of Jones coming up the inside on the big V twin down through turn 10. Jones is back up into second position now. Herfoss really needs to try and get as much of a slipstream advantage as he can and stay close goes to the Desmo Sport Ducati if he thinks he's going to be able to launch another assault just like he did a few laps ago at Suzuki Corner Turn 2.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got to stay in the slipstream now. He's right in the slipstream at the back of the Panigale Ducati, right where you need to be. But look at that Panigale pull away down the straight.
And Josh Waters is the danger man for Troy Herfoss because that Suzuki is fast. He's down the inside, can't quite get the job done. Herfoss just runs it in so quick into turn 1 as that back marker will come into play right at turn 2. Does a great job, Michael Edwards, gets out wide and allows these 4 riders to make their way through safely.
Just holding that mid-corner speed up through Suzuki Corner. They go, heading down out of Kawasaki now and onto the back straight into the slipstream. Herfoss has got to try and dive up the inside here. He's good through this one, but he can't do it.
Down into turn 4, the gap has come down to 1.6 seconds for Maxwell. Jones in second place, Herfoss in third. Then it's Waters and Crew Halliday. Daniel Falson's just dropped off a fraction, and Matt Walters is a couple of bike lengths off the back of Daniel Falson as they make their way through turn 6 and on the run up towards the KTM corner now.
Herfoss is running out of opportunities here now. He's got to think smart. He's got to think quick. He's going to have to dive up the inside into Pirelli corner, turn 10. That's his last option. He's going to have to do it, and he's going to have to knock Mike Jones a little bit wide. He's going for it. He's gone up the inside. He's hard on the brakes down there. He's left nowhere to go. Jones is set up. Jones has got wide. They're side by side. He's done it. He's made the move, but Jones is there. This is it. He's going to have to do the fastest turn 12 in his life, Phil.
And watch out for Josh Waters as well, because he has got a full head of steam as they come round through Yamaha corner for the final time. It is Herfoss in second place. Has Jones got enough of a run out of the final corner to try and slipstream the Penrite Honda to the line? But it is Maxwell that takes the win. And the checkered flag, and across the line, I'm not quite sure who it was. It was so close between Troy Herfoss and Mike Jones as they came across the line. There is literally nothing in it. I think that one may even go to the photo. As we go back through the field, there goes Brian Starring across the line. He'll finish in 8th place, but there's no doubt about the race winner, Steve Martin. That is Wayne Maxwell on board bike number 47. The Wayne train was an express, and it did not stop once it got a full head of steam up until the checkered flag came out.
Well, he knows what he's got to do if he wants to win the championship this year. He needs to win every race left, and there was 4 at the start of the weekend. He's won the first one, 3 to go. That's on his mind at the moment, but I tell you what, winning here by that margin, he obviously managed that race. He is, he's in for a good shot this afternoon.
And the good news is that Troy Herfoss, good news for Wayne Maxwell is that Troy Herfoss has been finished in second position, or has claimed second position over Mike Jones to the tune of, a couple of hundredths of a second. So the points gap, just Constantina's up even closer as we move into race 2 this afternoon. So Wayne Maxwell, Troy Herfoss and Mike Jones are your top 3. Can't wait to hear from them very shortly down in Parks May with Emma. Josh Waters, a great ride to 4th position. Crew Halliday in 5th. Daniel Falzon in 6th. Matt Walters in 7th. I know he said he wanted a top 5, but that was a brilliant ride. Only 4.3 seconds behind the race win. Brian Starring, Mo Chiato and Glenn Allerton round out the top 10.
Yeah, what a great result for those guys. Good to see Glenn Allerton back as well and into that top 10. But good result for Herfoss. Probably one of his best results here at the Island, I'd say.
Well, I reckon that was a very strong ride and showed that he's going to be strong not only for race 2 this afternoon, but also at Sydney Motorsport Park for the final round as well. You can never discount Troy Herfoss. He has got a lot of aggression after the last round, but I tell you what, he's putting it to great use at the moment. A strong ride and a great work from the Penrite Honda team.
Yeah, what about Wayne Maxwell, though? That was just a brilliant ride. He controlled it from the start. He won it from the start, actually. He won it on the first lap. He had a second gap at the end of the first lap. And from there, I mean, it's easy to catch up 0.8, but that second was a gift. The other guys need to try harder on the first lap.
Yeah, and I think how much it means to that team just shows you there with the smile on Phil Taten's face. Let's have a look at the highlights now of race number 1 for the Kawasaki Superbikes. And just looking at them come down the start-finish straight, what you'll notice there is, where is Wayne Maxwell? Well, this was early on in the race, and he had already gone. As you mentioned, Steve Martin, a 1 second plus lead after the first lap of the race, and he essentially left the championship challengers, Mike Jones and Troy Herfoss, Crew Halliday, to sort themselves out in his wake. And that's exactly what they did. The good news for Wayne was that there were more challenges in there as well. His teammate Josh Waters on board bike number 21, also Daniel Falzon, and the very rapid privateer this weekend, Matt Walters.
Yeah, Matt Walters having one of the best rides of the weekend, but I'll tell you one man that will be smiling after that race, and that's the man at the front of our screen there, Troy Herfoss for the Penrite Honda team. This is one of the best rides that he's ever had around this circuit while he's been on the Honda Superbike.
Yeah, keep an eye on his body language though. You could see how aggressive he was riding that bike. He was wringing the neck of that Honda. That was where Jones just managed to push his way up the inside. What do they say? You only need a 3.5-inch gap to get your front tyre in, even if it is a 125, the new 125 profile. And that's exactly what Jones did there. Just managed to squeeze his way through. But Herfoss, to his credit, hung on with white knuckles all the way down the start-finish straight and was able to launch an attack late in the race on board the Penrite Honda.
Yeah, well, he certainly had to do it. There was a back marker in the way there, but then Herfoss made this move up the inside. Nice, clean move, gave it everything he could, got past, and then it was just a matter of carrying as much corner speed as he could, because we all know how fast that Ducati is down the straight, and Herfoss just managed to pull enough out. He would have been having his fingers crossed that Jones didn't go past. Maxwell won, and it was Troy Herfoss who got second.
I think Herfoss rode the perfect race from turn 11 to turn 12 in that last bit. He just had everything on the line through turn 12. There was nothing left for Troy Herfoss. Let's hear from our top three. They're in Park from A with Emma.
Thanks, Phil. Starting with third position, Mike Jones. Okay, good to see you smile because you look really disappointed there for a minute, but what an epic race. Great battles.
Yeah, it was a fantastic race. You know, the battle was really tough, and unfortunately didn't finish in the position that I wanted to, but come away with third position is strong result for the championship, so I'm happy about that. But I think we're going to come out stronger in the next one.
Good luck.
Cheers, thank you.
In second position, Troy Herfoss. A great job to you and the Penrite Honda Racing team on another podium. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. Second here today in these difficult conditions is really good. It was nice. The guys couldn't open the throttle, so all of a sudden the Honda was holding its own down the straight, and I'm so proud of the guys. We've got, if not the best bike in the field. It's a credit to Wayne to ride in them conditions out front on his own. Yeah, there's nothing I can say that would make me go a little bit faster. I tried my hardest, and congratulations to him and his team, and I'm so happy to finally get one on Mike. And yeah, there's 3 races to go, and I'm so close. This is apparently my worst track, and we're potentially good enough to win, so I'm so happy.
Not too bad at all. Thanks, Troy. Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, your winner for race number 1 from Team Suzuki Extra, Wayne Maxwell. Let's hear it. Wayno, a good move into turn 1 around the outside, and then you just took off with it. Great work.
Yeah, look, we had a strategy, and Mike was a little bit hesitant in the wind, so I just attacked from the gun, and I just thought, and I was surprised. I sent +1 and then +2. I was like, thank God I got a bit of breathing space, and then made a few mistakes. The wind was gusting down turn 1, and I was doing some quick lap times and wasn't getting any gap, and I thought, those guys, if I take the foot off the pedal for 1 second, it's going to be in trouble. But massive thanks to everyone in my team. Everyone at Team Suzuki X-Star's done an awesome job. Sid, Phil, Dale's not here this weekend, and the bike's getting, or I'm getting better and better, one of the two, or the package, you know. So really good, tough conditions, and happy to get a win and keep ourselves in this championship for at least a couple more races.
You're still in that championship. You just moved up to 3rd. Well done. Wayne Maxwell, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, Wayne.
Just going up.
Well, congratulations to Wayne and all the team down there at Team Suzuki X-Star Australia. They have had a fantastic weekend so far this weekend. And let's have a look at the updated points now in the championship. Mike Jones still leads, 236.5 points to Crew Halliday's 222. But Maxwell has moved up into 3rd place. Herfoss has moved up into 4th, and Brian Starring has dropped from 3rd back to 5th position. Josh Waters is still there in 6th position and still mathematically well and truly in contention for the championship as we head into the last 3 races of the season. Back down to M on the podium.
Guys, you'll know this guy as Wayne's mechanic, been working with him for many, many years. But Warren Monson is also an absolute champion pilot, Speedway sidecar champion. We've got a bit of a presentation for him. PD has generously made up this frame. Did you? Yeah, 2. That's right. 2-time Speedway Sidecar World Cup champion. Congratulations. Let's give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Was the boys set that up for you? How are you feeling?
It's definitely a bit of a stitch up. I didn't know that was coming.
Well done, mate.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations to Warren Monson, who I think this year made history in when he won the FIM World Cup and also the FIM Oceania Cup on the same weekend earlier on this year. So congratulations to Warren Monson. Hell of a mechanic, hell of a sidecar rider as well. We'll have a short break, come back here to Phillip Island. Continuing action from the 6th round of the 2019 Motul Pirelli Australian Superbike Championship from the home of from the home of motorcycle racing, Phillip Island.
Don't miss a second of the action. Every corner, every shift, every heartbreak. See your motorsport as it should be, live and free. Download your Motorsport TV experience now.
Get ready! Supercross is coming to Port Adelaide. The Australian Supercross Championship Round 2, presented by Fly Racing, will launch into Gilman Speedway Saturday night, October 19. See Australia's best take on Americans Justin Brayton and more in bar-to-bar Supercross action. It's a huge night of motorsport for the whole family. Whatever you do, don't miss this one. Tickets selling fast at trybooking.com.au.
Welcome back to the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. We are just about to get into the very first race of the Motorsports TV Supersport Championship, and it is this guy right here, Tom Taparis, who could possibly wrap up this championship after this race. All he has to do is finish 6th or above. What would it mean to you, Tom, winning this championship?
Yeah, it'd be everything we've worked for all year, of course, and for me personally, the last couple of years I've been racing this championship, so yeah, it'd be great to win the championship here. Unfortunately, the conditions are really ugly at the minute, so we'll see how we end up.
I'll let you relax. Good luck. See you on the podium, we hope.
Yeah, thanks, Emma.
Yeah, thanks very much, Emma. Great to hear from Tom down there on the grid. Just to give you an idea of Tom Taparis' season this year, Steve Martin, he has won every race bar one. And that was the race that Nick Limington won in front of his home fans at the Ben Motorsport Park in South Australia. Tom Taparis has essentially done exactly what Crew Halliday did last year in the championship. Back down to Em.
Jack Pashfield, first time starting on the front row of the grid, so well done in qualifying. A bit windy out there, should make things interesting.
Yeah, the wind will cause a bit of havoc, but hopefully with a bit of clear track, we'll get off to a good start and chase the guys at the front and hopefully get some good results this afternoon.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, he has been going incredibly well this weekend, Jack Pashfield. Great to see a new name up on the front row of the grid, but it's no real surprise, Steve, because he has been going really well this year over the last couple of rounds.
Well, he has, but, I mean, he's pretty much come from nowhere. Like, he literally was doing nothing, and then all of a sudden, kabang, just like that, something's switched either in the team or, you know, within himself, and, boy, suddenly he's competitive. I'm really happy. It's great to see. This class here, you know, is obviously the stepping stone into the superbikes, and I'm sure that's where most of these guys will want to one day end up.
Well, the other man that starts on the middle of the front row of the grid, in between our poleman Tom Taparis and Jack Pashfield, is the only other man apart from Tom Taparis that's taken a race win this year. But when he hasn't been finishing in first place, he's been pretty much finishing in second or third all of the time as well, and that's why he sits second place in the championship. But he has had his fair share of bad luck as well with a couple of DNFs.
Yeah, especially last time out in Winton, if you were lucky enough to see the winning coverage. Both him and Reed Batty went down in a spectacular crash. Luckily, everybody is okay. Reed's not back yet, but he'll be back soon. We wish him the best. But Nick Limington, let's hope he can get a good start out there. And you know what? I think he's got the mindset now that, hey, I can't win this championship, but I'm going to take it to Tom Taparis if I can. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Nick Limington give it absolutely everything out there. Avalon Biddle as well from New Zealand is here. There she's with the pink helmet on just at the back of the screen. Good to see her down here as well.
Tom Taparis, as you mentioned, could wrap up the championship with a top four finish here. The way he's been riding this weekend, you wouldn't put that past him. But those two DNFs for Nick Limington at the last round moved Brock Pearson up into second place in the championship, and he was strong at the last round as well. So he's just ahead of Nick Limington. Ollie Bayliss back there in fourth place. Got to keep pinching ourselves and thinking that this guy has only just turned 16, and he is also having his first year in Supersport. Aidan Hayes in fifth, been strong this weekend as well. Reed Batty, unfortunately not here, still injured. Dallas Skier, Ty Lynch, Chris Quinn, and Jack Pashfield round out the top 10.
Yeah, good to see Jack Pashfield, as he said, like normally down around that position in the races, but boy, he's in with a big chance starting from that position 3. And Aidan Hayes as well. He's had a Victorian race here and knows his way around this circuit. Hopefully he can find it. And what about Ty Lynch? He's another one that's coming good.
Yeah, he was incredibly fast last year. Let's have a look at the grid now. It is Tom Taparis that will start from pole position with Nick Limington and Jack Pashfield on the front row of the grid.
Row 2 is Ollie Bayliss, Ty Lynch, and of course Brock Pearson. He's a hard charger.
Aidan Hayes, Richie Devon, the Kiwi that made an immediate impact last round at Winton Motor Raceway, and Jack Hyde from row 3.
Yeah, good to see him. Reece Belling, welcome back. Avalon Biddle, as we said, from New Zealand, and Dallas Skier, the young South Australian.
And the field rounded out by Brodie Maloof, Callum O'Brien making his Supersport debut this weekend, and John Quinn, the local man, on there on the row 3, and then Donnan and Ryan Sellon rounding out the field on row 6. So, Tom Taparis leads the championship, starts from pole position, and could be crowned Australian champion at the completion of this race if the results go his way, Steve Martin.
Really looking forward to
solid field of Supersport here this weekend. As the red flag leaves the front of the grid, Motorsports TV, Supersport. Supersport is go as we make our way off the line. Great start there from Tom Taparis. Looked like some charging coming from the second row of the grid as well as we make our way down towards turn 1. It is Brock Pearson that's got a cracking start. He's just been swamped as they go around the outside in towards turn 1 though. But is that Jack Pashfield that leads them through turn 1 for the first time?
Yeah, Jack Pashfield. And is that Ollie Bayliss as well that's up there? Good to see him. Ty Lynch is up there as well. So both of those machines are up near the front. Avalon Biddle I just saw in the middle of the pack. She got a good start too. But that is the number number 68, Ollie Bayliss.
Massive tank slapper. I think the rest of the field backed off there. They were waiting for Ollie Bayliss to crash, but just like his famous 3-time Superbike World Champion father, he kept the throttle pinned.
Oh, what a great start for Ollie Bayliss. Just think back to Winton. He had a brilliant start like that last time out, didn't he? Let's hope it all hangs together, but Ollie Bayliss is on a charge at the moment.
Yeah, after his winning performance, I was actually a bit surprised to see him not be up there challenging Tom Taparis for the other pole position here this round, but I think he's made his intentions quite clear. Let's have a look at the replay now, this exit of the long sweeping Suzuki corner. Here he goes, watch this. Ollie Bayliss out onto the ripple strip, massive tank slapper. That went on for 150, 200 metres, Steve Martin.
Yeah, it certainly was. He will have forgotten about that now, and he leads at the moment with his great mate Tom Taparis behind him, and Nick Limington right where he needs to be. Jack Passfield, who got the jump on the field straight up, is back in 4th position, and he'll be happy with that. Ty Lynch just behind them.
Yeah, Ty Lynch continuing on his great form from the last round at Winton as well. On board bike number 85, Brock Pearson on board bike number 17, just behind him. That new livery looks absolutely fantastic today. He debuted a couple of rounds ago. And it's Aidan Hayes in 7th position. Skier Dibben and Jack Hyde round out the top 10 as they come across the line for the first time. I think Ollie Bayliss has been swamped as they come down the line. They're 4 abreast. It is Nick Limington on bike number 27 that leads them into turn 1 as they come through there for the second time.
And Taparis looks like he's going to go around the outside, but he can't do it. Will he cut back to the inside? Nick runs a little bit wide there. Taparis looks up the inside, but it is Nick Limington who takes the lead at the moment. A bit wide on the exit there.
Well, Tom Taparis has ridden 3 race meetings in 3 weekends in 3 different countries.
Bayliss has gone back, and Passfield's moved up into a podium position.
So down into the slowest corner on the track, YMI corner, turn 4. It is still Nick Limington that leads. Ty Lynch all over the back of his teammate as well. And just having a look, that's Aidan Hayes is on a charge as well. He's moved well and truly up on board bike number 46.
Yeah, he was struggling throughout qualifying, but I tell you what, Aidan Hayes, when he finds his mojo, he's fast. He's on the back of the group at the moment, and definitely one to watch.
Remember how impressive he was here at the first round this year too, Steve Martin, Aidan Hayes?
Bayliss is going wide around the outside. They're looking for a way past Passfield, but can't do it. Passfield with a big moment over the top there. Manages to gather it together.
Oh, Aidan Hayes up the inside of Ty Lynch as well as they come down into the Pirelli corner at turn 10. So moves up 1 further position, Aidan Hayes. Oh, that Jack Passfield, he's out of the seat. He's so lucky to keep the bike on track. Ollie Bayliss had perfect view of that. They're trying to outdo each other as they come round through a Yamaha corner. Both R6 mounted, and they're both riding the wheels off that thing as Nick's dad, Richard, gives him the hurry up.
That's, can you open the throttle to 110% rather than 105? Doing the best job he can, but it is Nick Limington out front at the moment, and he is, let's be fair, 36.5. That's a very impressive first lap for Nick Limington. He did that out front. He is the man making the pace at the moment. Tom Taparis, probably, as you say, the most experienced of these guys now, especially when it comes to international experience, and been doing a lot of riding lately. It's probably played to his advantage, but meanwhile, Aidan Hayes is making his way forward.
Yeah, Taparis and Nick Limington have really started to manage to, get away from the rest of the field now as they come down in towards turn 4. So it is Limington. Look at the corner speed of Tom Taparis as he just exits there so smoothly right on the back of Nick Limington's machine.
Nick was definitely a little bit wide into that corner there. Tom Taparis slightly more accurate on his line. And Taparis will be picking up on those things. But let's remember, Taparis doesn't need to win this race. He needs to finish in the top 4, because what's he racing for? This race win or the Australian Championship?
Well, I think the Australian Championship is going to take precedence over everything here this weekend. But you know what they're like, Steve Martin. You'd be the same. You'd want to win the race and win the championship at the same time.
Well, there's only one man that knows how to beat Tom Taparis this year, and that is Nick Limington. So he will give it absolutely everything he's got out the front. And then you've got this gaggle in the back here. Aidan Hayes making his way forward, and he's past Jack Passfield now. Perhaps that moment, gave him a little bit of a worry.
Well, this group here, the Phillip Island Rodeo Society.
Yeah, that's them.
So Nick Limington leads across the line once again. 3 laps down of the 10-lap journey. So the South Australian leads the rider from Goulburn. Taparis has a look up the inside. Can't quite get the job done. Nick Limington very late on the brakes there.
And he's gone wide. Taparis tries to look around the outside, but Nick shoots up the inside. Taparis once again tries that narrow line through the double apex corner, but can't do it because Nick Limington closes that line off. Wide exit there from Nick, and once again using all the exit, hits that ripple strip and nearly sets that R6 off. Look at the rubber they're laying around there.
Just looking at the body language in that too, Nick Leamington looks like he is trying really hard. You can see there he's getting the bike sideways. That's typical Nick Leamington style, isn't it? Getting the bike sideways into corners.
If he's got a weakness, that is his weakness, is the fact that he just gets that bike too sideways. That starts to wear the tyre even more. You see Taparis's bike there, it's stable as can be at the moment, entering the corners. So Nick has to deal with that sideways slide on the way in. Not ideal at Phillip Island, but it's not worrying Nick out front at the moment.
Yeah, Tom Taparis has had a sensational year in the championship since jumping on board this Yamaha YZF R6, the Landbridge transport machine prepared by Sam Costanza and the crew, doing a great job here all year. They won 3 races at the beginning of the year. They scored championship points in the World Supersport Championship. In fact, they scored excellent points in the Supersport World Championship. Tom's been racing in the IDM German Superbike Championship in the Supersport class for Benro Racing all year, and he's doing a great job here at travelling backwards and forwards from Australia to Holland, and competing in that championship all year. As we mentioned, 3 races in 3 countries in 3 weekends, and they've pulled a nice gap over the rest of the field. Now, it's currently being led by Ollie Bayliss. He's 3 seconds behind the race lead, but Ollie Bayliss is starting to get away from Aidan Hayes, Jack Passfield and Ty Lynch at the same time.
Yeah, certainly is. He's put himself into that a fairly safe 3rd position at the moment. He won't be happy with that, though, because he wants to be up the front with these 2 guys. I mean, they're both riding these bikes on the absolute limit there. Look at the different lines out of the Kawasaki corner, though.
You can see there that Taparis was able to hold a much tighter line than Nick Leamington, who was using every piece of the racetrack. He comes down into YMI corner. Nick very late on the brakes again. Bike just starting to move around a fraction. A lot more in line, though, on that occasion. Stevie didn't get the back end hanging out like Nick Leamington sometimes does.
Well, this is the part of the race where you should really, especially if you're leading, you should be trying to conserve a little bit of something, because you know that Tom Taparis is doing that at the moment. Taparis will not be exerting himself. He'll be just sitting there and he'll wait. And you watch Taparis when he does go, and here he goes up the inside. He's dive up the inside, side by side they go up the hill. What an incredible display. Taparis is on the inside line. It's Nick Leamington. Who's going to brake hardest? It is Taparis. Now Taparis will put the hammer down.
So Taparis just planned that one to perfection, but the way he was able to get up the inside of him across the top of Lukey Heights and then go very late on the brakes down into Pirelli corner, turn 10. Nick Leamington now has just got to try and hang on to Tom Taparis as long as he can. Look at the gap that Taparis has pulled as they come round through turn 12 in just one corner, down onto the Motul Pirelli straight now. Nick Leamington will use the slipstream to try and claw himself back onto the back of bike number 7. There's Tom's dad, Richard, on the sidelines, just watching, giving him the pit board, letting him know what's happening.
Well, Taparis at the moment saying, OK, Nick, now what can you really do? Show me. So Taparis is just using everything he's got now to try and eke out. But look at this as they head over the top of the hill, Phil, side by side. Taparis taking a long time to get past him, but he does. He nips by up the inside there and straight into the pit.
Down to M.
Richard Taparis, in a few moments' time, he could possibly be the champion for 2019. What would that mean to you, Mr. Proud Dad you are?
I'll be very proud, very excited about the day. Potentially all his dreams will come true today, and his mother and I will be very proud of him if that was to happen in this race. It'd be great.
Thanks, Richard.
Okay, thanks very much.
He's trying to keep everything just emotionally in check, I think, is Richard Taparis at the moment. But great to see all of Tom's family down here, his brothers, his mum and dad, everyone here to witness the racing here this weekend.
Got a feeling this could be the first championship of many for this young man, Tom Taparis. He's impressing everywhere he goes, not only here in the Supersport class. Nick Leamington now looks up the inside, but everywhere in the world that he goes, he's winning and impressing. I've got a feeling he won't be riding in Australia next year, my friend.
Well, one rider that's keen to give it to him for as long as he can here in Australia is Nick Leamington. He's doing a great job, Steve, to hang on to the back of the very rapid Tom Taparis as they come through Yamaha Revsy corner, turn 12. Look at Leamington. He is right on the back of him. Now, he's actually close enough that he will be able to use the slipstream. Can he get past the massive corner entry speed of Tom Taparis, get down in towards turn 1 is the big question. Great ride from Aidan Hayes. He's challenging Jack Passfield for this podium as well.
Where's Ollie Bayliss gone?
Yep, Ollie Bayliss is gone. Is that... We've got a notification that a rider crashed at turn 1. Rider up and OK.
got to think that's Bayliss. It looks like Ollie Bayliss has gone down. It is. Ollie Bayliss is out of this one, unfortunately. Crashed out of a podium position. Let's hope he's okay and he can rejoin later on this afternoon. But back out front, this is a pretty interesting battle. And it is Nick Limington who's made his way back in front.
So Nick Limington keeps it relatively in line for Nick Limington into turn 4, the YMI corner.
This is a great result for these two guys, whatever way it goes. We're going to see a champion crowned, and boy, if you're going to win a race, what better way to do it than to beat one of the fastest 600 riders in the world, Tom Taparis.
We come up through the hay shed now. It is Nick Limington that leads Tom Taparis. Well, Tom, he was desperate this weekend to try and break the long-standing Supersport lap record. But I think with the windy conditions today, Steve Martin, that one is well and truly out of the equation.
Well, let's just concentrate on getting that championship under the belt. And I tell you what, Nick Limington is on the absolute limit there. Everything sideways as he heads into Pirelli corner. Jack Passfeld, though, I wonder if he knows that he's in 3rd position. With that, crash of Ollie Bayliss, he would have been a little bit further up the road. I guess he saw it, but he'll come round now and see on his pit board what position he's in. He won't be used to this, but he could be in with a chance of his first podium in the 600 Supersport class.
Actually, I think both of them would be on track for their first podium as well. Aidan Hayes, I think his best result for the year so far is about a 6th position actually at this track in the first round of the championship back in the end of February. So both of them looking for their first podium. I was having a look at Jack Passfield's results. He was like a 8, 9, 10 finisher, and this weekend he has been so close to the front of the field.
Yeah, I know. It's an absolute boom, and Taparis takes back over the lead now, so it's going to be interesting to see what he can do as we start to run out of laps. The best thing that Nick can do now is sit behind him. Sit behind him, conserve energy to the last lap and then have a go. Don't show Taparis anything else about what you've got in the tank.
And try and plan a strategy for the remainder of this race. We've seen so many races here today that have been won in the last 3 corners of the race.
Absolutely, but it's all about tactics, and the more you're in front, the more that you show the person behind you what you've got. I mean, Limington there now is right on the back. I mean, I understand he's a fighter, but Phillip Island is a tactical place.
Well, across the top of Lukey Heights we go at YMI corner and down into Pirelli. It is still Tom Taparis that leads from Nick Limington. So we'll be coming round to complete 8 laps of the 10-lap journey. So that will be less than 2 circuits of the Phillip Island circuit to go. So about 9 kilometres for Tom Taparis to hang on.
Yeah, I mean, Taparis hasn't put a foot wrong all year in reality, though, has he? I mean, just look how smooth he is. Limington in the slipstream at the moment, and he's going past and up the inside again. That was a little bit of a test to see if he could drive past him, and he does. He takes him into YMF turn 1 here at Phillip Island. Oh, a bit of a moment there from Taparis. Did you see that?
The big question was, Taparis runs very wide. I think he went to turn into the corner and Limington was there. Had to run it on a little bit straighter, and he manages to keep the bike on track. But I wonder if he's just sort of thought, OK, enough of trying to win the race. Let's just try and wrap up this championship. He has been the fastest man on track on the last lap, incidentally, Steve Martin, with a 1:36.503. But Nick Limington was a 1:36.6, so there is literally nothing between them as they come round on this penultimate lap.
Yeah, I think you're dreaming, mate. Taparis hasn't given up just yet. He wants to win this one more than anything.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that if he's going, oh, hang on, a couple of moments there.
Nah, no way. He wouldn't even feel
he's forgotten about it by now.
Yeah, he's a teenager, isn't he?
Only just.
Meanwhile, as they head through one of the fastest corners through KTM.
Well, we've just come up on our timing board under investigations, yellow flag. Nick Limington may have overtaken Tom Taparis where a yellow flag is being displayed. So that will be under...
you know what that'll be?
Race direction, having a look at that.
That's going to be... That's a difficult one because I guess that would have been at turn 1. Where Ollie Bayliss went down, perhaps his bike wasn't cleared off, so
and Tom ran wide.
Well, no, I don't know. We're just going to have to leave that up to them. Oh, there's another rider down.
Is that Ollie Bayliss's bike?
Yeah, that's Ollie Bayliss's bike. Definitely.
That's a long way into the gravel trap at turn 1. Last lap board out now for our race leader, Nick Limington, as he comes across the line.
Yeah, Nick doing everything he can now. He's got to hold it together. You can be assured that he's giving it absolutely everything he's got. Taparis tries to dive up the inside. He can't quite do it there. Limington now using as much mid-corner speed. But look at the line difference here. Taparis much tighter. I like Taparis' line out of there. Gives him good drive as they head down into the YMI corner.
Well, Tom Taparis stalking at the moment, Nick Leamington. He comes to the inside. He has a bit of a lunge on the brakes. No, Nick Leamington is very, very late in there on the brakes. No way through for Taparis as they come round through the final half of this circuit now. It is still Nick Leamington that leads. The gap back to Jack Passfield and Aidan Hayes is out to over 10 seconds. Shows the complete and utter dominance of this pair at the front of this race.
Well, absolutely. 36.7 last time through for Leamington. That just shows you the sort of pace, like you say, that he's on, and the dedication, and boy, the will, the want to try and beat Tom Taparis. But it is Leamington now as he heads over the top.
Leamington's gone down. He's run a fraction wide. And he's gone down on the exit of the top of Lukey Heights, and Taparis will now take up the running at the front, and it means that he will be joined on the podium by both Jack Passfield and Aidan Hayes, who are disputing the final podium position. Round through the final corner now for the 2019 Motorsports TV Supersport champion Tom Taparis. One corner to go, and he will be crowned 2019 champion, the first Australian champion for 2019. Tom Taparis on the Lambridge Racing Yamaha YZF R6.
What a brilliant ride by Taparis. What a result for him. What a career he's had to date. He's been fast on the 300, but boy, moving to that 600, Aidan Hayes gets his first podium. What a great result. And Passfield takes third position. But this is all Tom Taparis.
Congratulations to Tom Taparis, 2019 Motorsports TV Australian Supersport champion. What a way to celebrate here at the spiritual home of Australian motorcycling, Phillip Island, where his season got underway in the best possible way with the pole position and 3 race wins back in February of this year.
Well, he's already won a lot, but I tell you what, when he looks back on his career in 20 years' time, this will be one of those wins that will stick in his mind. What an important day for Tom Taparis. It's a good thing to have a championship under your belt, and the 600 Australian Motorsports TV Supersport Championship is definitely one of the bigger ones worth having.
Well, congratulations also to Aidan Hayes for his first podium of the year on board bike number 46 there as well. He will be over the moon with that one. And congratulations also to Jack Passfield, his first podium on board bike number 42. Great to see some new riders up there on the podium, but I've got to feel sorry for Nick Leamington at the same time.
Well, look, Nick can be sorry, but I tell you what, I take my hat off to that man. That was one hell of a ride. It was a great ride. He gave it everything he could. And he's the only guy in Australia that can take it to Tom Taparis at the moment. So,
well, as we mentioned, in the end, the winning margin for Tom Taparis was 13.1 seconds. That gives you an idea of how far ahead Nick Leamington and Tom Taparis were of the rest of the field.
And just looking at the last lap pace of Tom Taparis, 36.4, one of the fastest laps of the race. That was pretty impressive stuff. But you've got to turn up at the podium, don't you, with all the right gear, and look at him. He's really blinging himself up with the gold helmet.
Getting his brothers to give him a hand there to get the gear on. Also, Marty Dowd, his mechanic that's been working with him all year. Marty, Sam and the crew have done a great job with Tom this year on board that. It was a brand new bike for him at the beginning of the year, Steve.
Oh, absolutely. And I'll tell you what, I'm really looking forward to this because it's going to be interesting to see all the emotion come out. And look how windy it is out there still. Like, it was easy to forget.
Oh, it's blown number 7 off the front of his bike and it's been replaced by number 1.
Amazing, isn't it? Yeah, it didn't take long for them to sort that out, did it? And there's Andrew Gosling there, of course, getting the photos. Geez, that was a quick pit stop, wasn't it?
I don't think they'll be making World Endurance anytime soon, though.
Well, no, they won't, because they're changing all the wrong things. Normally they do fuel and tyres, not T-shirts and helmets. And numbers. But
there you go. There goes the 2019 Motorsports TV Supersport champion back to Parc Fermé, where we'll be hearing from him in just a moment.
Yeah.
But what a day for the whole Taparis family, not just Tom.
Well, absolutely. The thing is, okay, it's the first race of the day for him. This is such a moment for him. He's going to have to get over that and race again this afternoon. Do you know what I mean? Like, he'll be able to race this afternoon without all the pressure of this championship on his mind. So I'll be really looking forward to seeing him do that. But you can just see him there heading down now. Look how beautiful and busy the pits look at the moment too. Really great to see. A lot of people down there in the Parc Fermé.
Yep, congratulations to Tom. Comes into Parc Fermé. Great work. And getting the hug there from the crew. The smile on Tom Taparis' face says it all. Congratulating Aidan Hayes. And there's Dad Richard joining him in Parc Fermé. Big happy smile.
Brody. Ladies and gentlemen, your champion for the Motorsports TV Supersport for 2019, Tom Taparis. Let's hear it. How's the helmet? Very nice. Tom Taparis. Wow. You are the champion. What are you feeling right now?
Yeah, Emma. That was a crazy race to start with. Like, the wind then was as bad as it's ever been. If I paid for a track day and it was this windy, I'd be very disappointed. Just like coming out of turn 2, we were on the first lap, we were all had the same moment, and it was just so dodgy. But in the end, I was just doing what I had to do without crashing, and unfortunately, I think Nick crashed there in the end. I just saw a bit of smoke on the outside, and yeah, unfortunately, he went down. But anyway, I'm wrapped to take the championship. My first time ever winning an Australian title, so couldn't have done it better here than anyway here my home track. Oh no, not my home track, my favourite track at Phillip Island. Lost words, but yeah, just can't thank my family and my team enough. Everyone back home, the Lambridge MR team have done such a good job all year. We've won so many races, and yeah, so I'm a problem now. Yeah, just like seriously, all my sponsors, Ricky Lanyon from Leader, and my grandparents and my family, and yeah, just wrapped. Like so happy after last year. We worked so hard to beat Crew, and then now to do it here on you know, the new Yamaha. It's an awesome bike to ride, and so grateful for everyone that's given me the opportunity to win this championship.
For that race, you only really had to finish 6th or above to be the champion. So that last lap, just as you were coming up to the line, what was going through your mind?
Yeah, like I said, I saw a bit of smoke from the outside of Nick, and I didn't know if he saved it or not, to be honest. So the last couple of corners were pretty nerve-wracking, and the wind, like I said, is so bad that you have to change your body on the bike, and everyone's getting the swap. So yeah, coming over to the line, I saw the pit board out, and knew that we'd got the job done. So yeah, like I said, wrapped. So over the moon to win here and win my first Australian title.
3 weeks, 3 different countries. You're a busy man. What's next for Tom Taparis for 2020?
Yeah. The goal is to race in the World Championship, of course, for everybody. I'd love to be overseas next year. My team overseas have been so good to me this year racing in the IDM Championship. We did a BSB round as well, and we enjoyed that. So there's a few options on the table. I'd love to be overseas full-time next year and give it a good crack while I'm still quite young.
Congratulations. I know your dad's trying to jump in here. He's trying to give you another hug. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for your champion for 2019, Tom Taparis. And for the rest of our podium after a cracking race, let's start with the guy that finished in 3rd position, Jack Passfield. Congratulations, your first podium for this class. Cracking race.
Yeah, it was really good. Me and Aiden had a cracking battle all race. Unfortunately, something happened early on into turn 1, so he couldn't go to the end, but it was a really good race all the way.
Good luck for the next one. And Aiden Hayes finishing 2nd. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for him. I lost you for a second there. Smiles all around. That was a fantastic race. Well done on the podium.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, we've been putting in a lot of work to try and get the bike right, and it all came together, and it was a great battle out there, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
Sun shining, but tricky conditions, right?
Yeah, exactly. This wind is playing a factor, but it's good in some parts and bad in others, so, you know, we make it work where we can.
Congratulations, well done. Let's hear it for your podium, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, congratulations to our top 3 and the 2019 Motorsports TV Supersport champion, Tom Taparis. He took the race win, he took the championship, and Aiden Hayes and Jack Passfield both celebrated their first podiums in the Motorsport TV class as well. Brock Pearson finished in 4th place, Ty Lynch in 5th, Richie Dibben in 6th, Reece Belling in 7th, Jack Hyde, Dallas Skier and John Quinn on the Triumph rounded out the top 10. Brodie Maloof, Callum O'Brien, Avalon Biddle back in 13th place. Must have had some serious issues with the wind in that race. Tim Donnan, Ryan Sellen, and unfortunately Nick Limington and Ollie Bayliss didn't finish the race, crashing out. Bayliss at turn 1 and Limington at turn 9. But there is your 2019 Motorsports TV Australian Supersport champion, celebrating with his family and the team. And it's going to be a big next few years for Tom Taparis as he heads off overseas. Plenty more action coming up in this afternoon's program. Back on air at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Live TV and also live streaming from Phillip Island. Join us then.